Good morning, Lexiot's Raptor Freak here. Tuesday morning, got to get it right. Tuesday morning, the Raptors beat Hawks last night in Atlanta in an impressive win because the Hawks have been streaking, and it was close, and we played really well. Veteran kind of basketball at the end of it to make sure that we got the win with some really good, important daggers, different players filling in and doing different things to help us get that victory no matter what. It was really nice to see all the different starters do different things in the last quarter of the game to really help us. And that was such a fun game in some ways. Like, listen, the height test worked. We do have an advantage over the Hawks also, like a lot of teams in this league. And we really ran with it last night, and it really worked out really well. I don't think it would have been much different if Trae Young had been out there in some ways, because in some ways he does help them, but in other ways I think we could really stop him and mess him up also, just like any other little guy like that, just with our length and different things like that. But what a great game last night. The Raptors are on a roll. And listen, guys, tonight, Miami's coming here tonight, and they are in trouble. They're in trouble, y'all. They lost the Celtics last night by 30 points, and PJ Tucker and Jimmy Butler did not play last night. So who knows who's going to show up tonight for this Miami Heat team? There's definitely not going to be any Kyle Lowry, no Morris, no Yurt 7, no Okapala, none of these guys are playing. And it could be no Jimmy Butler and no PJ Tucker again also. So Paul B, Gary fucking Trent Jr. Yeah. This guy is serious. I don't know how many people saw the press conference after the game last night, but Gary Trent is a badass. If you have not seen this clip, I will post it in the comments below, because listen, Gary Trent is hilarious. This may be one of the most interesting little clips of a Raptor in an interview ever, because he seems to have these fun ones. Basically, there was a moment in it where he was talking and he's wearing these cool glasses, and he answers the question and then he stops, and then it kind of flickers a little bit. They thought that the it had frozen, like, because there's lag, because they were talking to him from Toronto to Atlanta, but he was just sitting there waiting for them to ask him another question. But they're like, oh, I think it froze. It's so hilarious. Y'all have to see it. Plus his answers are really hilarious also, because they actually ask him about the headband thing, and they say, are you what's going on with the headband? Are you going to keep wearing the headband? Is this a thing now? And he's like, no, I'm just playing. This is just my look right now, and it's clean, isn't it? It's nice and clean, isn't it? Oh man, Gary is a badass. And the other thing about this is that he's getting into this territory with really just elite scorers get into this territory where they get a certain amount of points and three-pointers made in a game. He's in a category with like guys like Dame Lillard, James Harden, Steph Curry, for what he's doing right now with his scoring output and what he's done. 4 games in a row over 30 points. Now, if he gets 30 points tonight, he will tie DeMar DeRozan's record for most 30-point games as a Toronto Raptor consecutively. And I am here for it. Do it, Gary. I think you really can, because honestly, I really do believe that we're going to get the weakest Miami Heat team we've seen so far this year tonight. And I hope we can just keep this momentum going. Another thing about tonight that's important, and what was important about the game last night, is we really got to think about these season series with these Eastern Conference opponents. Like, this is the first time we played Atlanta was last night, and we want to get off to the right foot. It's almost like a playoff series. You want to win game 1. And now we get to play them 3 more times, and, we have an advantage already. This is a similar thing with the Miami thing. We're 1-1 against them right now. So this is the rubber match. This is an important third game, pivot game, because honestly, there's only one more game after this. So if you're playing tonight, basically to actually ensure a tie in the season series, but also ensure that you can possibly still win the season series overall. So it's a very, very important, crucial Eastern Conference games in this whole crazy stretch where we're playing the same 4 teams twice in a jumble in different ways. All right, let me see what y'all are saying this morning. Okay, my brother is here again this morning, y'all, and he lives in Atlanta, and he just wants to say that the Hawks can't hang, baby. Listen, I'll tell you something. There's some things about that Hawk team I really, really like. They're interesting. Like that kid Herter, he did exactly what his name is. He hurt us. He was the only one out there hurting us. And he was perfect from the field in the first half, 6 for 6 with 3 3-pointers. And then he kind of got a little trouble in the second half. We were getting to him a little better and not letting him get such clean shots. He ended up shooting a little bit less, like 9 for 12. That's still super good, 26 points. But what I'm going to tell you right now is they can have this guy who scores 26 points. But if you look at his stat line, you're not seeing the meat of it anywhere else. Like our guys will go out and get 26 points, but then they'll have 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals. But, this kid's got 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 all along. And that's the difference. He's a pure scorer. And that's nice to have a pure scorer like Herter who will hit his open threes. But if you're not tooling it out by doing a whole bunch of different things on the court, like our guys, the Swiss Army knives, like we've been talking about lately, that is a big difference in the game. Like we are getting such maximum efficiency from our players out there. Like sometimes you just play guys just for roles and different things, but no, we're so interchangeable and so switchable that it is devastating to the rest of the league. And they're all getting put on notice. They're all realizing this as we come through their towns. I'm sure Dominique Wilkins, when he's calling the game last night, I didn't watch their feed. I watched the Toronto feed, was probably talking about how this Toronto team is nasty and is a little scary. Oh, yeah. I love to see you this morning, Carl. I love you, brother. And say hello to everybody down there and give them my love. Andrew, let's go. Woo! Guys, look at my shirt. Today I'm wearing my shirt. This is from the Ken collection that I got around Christmas. Grit over given. And we see Mr. Lowry, Mr. DeRozan, and Mr. Valanciunas on the shirt. Mr. Lowry will not be here tonight. But this is so poetic for the last Miami game on Saturday night. The triple overtime thriller, that grit over given. You have to have this Toronto Raptors grit if you want to try and compete with us and maybe even have a chance to play against us. Yeah, because if you don't have no grit, you ain't going to be given. That's for sure. Oh, yeah. Let's see what else is going on here. Paul B. Miami got worked last night. We need to put the pedal to the metal and don't let them even start to think they can win tonight. I love this, Paul. I love this. And I loved your enthusiasm during the game last night. You came and dropped that comment, and you're huge on Gary Trent today. And we all are. I mean, Gary Trent is amazing. Honestly, some of the shots he's making are not easy, and he's doing a really good job. But I completely agree. Miami is in a weakened state now all of a sudden, partly probably because of the game against us. I mean, Jimmy landed on Fred's foot, and he twisted his ankle. And that's the whole reason why he didn't play last night. And I didn't realize P.J. Tucker sat out last night also. So this is the thing. We'll see who shows up tonight and who is actually going to be here, Toronto, to play us tonight in uniform. So I'm excited about it. I feel real good about it. We know who Boston is. We know what they do and stuff like that. And if they can beat them by 30 points at this point, I think we should build off of our win over them the other night, the win last night against the Hawks, and just keep going, baby. Let's build this streak through the fire, through the crucible, through the gauntlet. Temper this steel to harden it, to be so strong, because these guys are crazy. They're playing 40 minutes a game. They're inhuman. They're not real people. They are absolutely gods. These are living gods among us that can run around with no energy spent and still be badasses at the end of the game and win the game. And so many different daggers from so many different people. Was OG getting a 3 somewhere here? Fred getting a 3, Pascal getting an easy shot down low, Scotty getting important defensive rebounds, Gary Trent Jr. being Gary Trent Jr. We just see excellence from our starters right now. It's a crazy, crazy kind of starting lineup that is just so dominant that it dominates our own bench. That's so crazy. It's so crazy. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying. I knew y'all would be excited about today. And listen, I'm here for the long haul. I'll be here for a couple hours if we need to get through all this to talk about this, because basically, we got to react to Atlanta last night, and we got to talk about Miami tonight. And there's other fun stuff. Like, did y'all know? Listen to this. This is hilarious. Y'all are going to laugh about this. Delano Banton landed the plane last night when it came into Toronto. Yeah. Apparently, there's footage of him in the cockpit of the plane, flying the plane and landing it at Pearson last night, and him saying, yeah, I landed the plane tonight. So he brought them home. I think that's hilarious that Delano Banton got to fly the plane last night when they flew in from Atlanta last night. Hilarious. Let's keep going. Let's see. G saying, good morning, G. As always, good to see you. Raptor Freak trivia champion right now. Teams like Hawks and Charlotte are finesse teams. Teams like Raptors and even Bucks are tough grinders. Raps seem to play well against these finesse teams. Yeah, they look real soft. Like they don't have the same kind of mentality or grit fight like a team like Miami does when they play us, or these other teams like the Clippers. Different teams have shown like huge amounts of energy trying to match us in their craziness. Memphis is another team that I can think of. And yeah, I think you're right. Charlotte and Atlanta are a different kind of NBA team, and they beat other teams really by out finessing them with offense, like getting a lot of threes and just trying to outscore other teams. And this is what I noticed with their score against the Lakers. The Lakers aren't going to play a lot of defense in that game on Sunday that they played against them. And there wasn't a lot of defense played. There's like really high shooting percentages. And just like you could tell, it's just a track meet where they're running up and down, letting each other shoot. Well, what happens is when these teams that play like this, that coast, like we're going to see this when we play the Lakers too, that they can't deal with a team that's actually playing defense, that we will mess teams up like this. And there's a lot of teams in this league that are actually like this. And part of what's happened this year so far is us finding our legs and our identity and who we are and what we do. And I think we're starting to figure it out. And that's the crazy, scary thing for the rest of the league. Is that now that we're figuring it out and we got these guys that know how to manage the end of the game, and they may have a different kind of endurance that they have now because of this crazy minutes they're getting than they did at the beginning of the year. So that at the end of the games, they have another level that other guys can't be at because they've been conditioning to it recently in the last couple of weeks. That's part of Nick Nurse's madness with these lineups and these overplaying of the starters, is that I think this is a side effect, is that our guys are tested and they're not tired at the end of games anymore. And I love what Nick's doing with them off game time. They didn't get any kind of court shoot around or anything in the last 2 days between Miami and Atlanta. They laid in bed, they rested, they did stuff. And you know what happened? When they came out for Atlanta last night, they were fresh and eager to go on the court instead of feeling like, oh, we're back to this. You got to do that. You got to give them time to rest physically and mentally. And he did a good job of doing that because they came in and they were very prepared on Monday night. And I'm really glad because there was a lot of chance for a letdown after a 3 overtime thriller like that. So much energy expended. No letdown. They rested them the right way between the games, and they came in with a lot of pop. And they were the team that came out to the lead at the beginning of the game. And that was something we're always looking for right now. Are the Raptors the team that come out strong and get some points first on the board and get a lead instead of letting the other team do the same to them? So that's been really good. And I commend Nick Nurse and the coaching staff and the training staff for having these guys ready physically for the game last night after such a crazy game on Saturday. Now, the test just gets crazier because these games, we only get like 1 day in between, and we're doing these back-to-backs, back-to-back. And, it's something like we're playing 7 games in 10 days or something like that, guys. It's insane what we're doing right now. It's really insane. Monique's here. Good morning, Superfan Monique. As always, so happy to see you. Amazing game. If Gary Trent Jr. isn't player of the week, he's got to be. Yeah, I think that he's making a good case for him to be player of the week, at least in the Eastern Conference, for sure. Oh, yeah, he should be. Paul B, game is on TNT tonight. We got to get Chuck and Shaq to learn our names. Listen, this is the way they slide us. They slide us with all this stupid stuff. The way that the different announcers say OG's name and Pascal's name is very different. Some people call Pascal. They really mess their names up in all kinds of different ways. It's fine, whatever. Shaq, it's a part of his like little comedy routines. The whole time with Valanciunas and Barkley trying to say Jonas Valanciunas was pretty hilarious back in the day. But yeah, it's great that we're going to be on TNT tonight because this is the thing. These people need to know we're coming. And they didn't listen to us at the beginning of the season when I was saying we're coming and y'all need to watch out, NBA. But now they're starting to realize it and they're going to put us on TV. I know this game was probably supposed to be on TV anyway, just because it's a big one. Kyle Lowry coming back to Toronto for the first time, but he's not going to be here, which is unfortunate. All right, let's keep going. Gary is only 23. Gary's only 23. He's so weird, man. Like his interviews, he's a real clam in the interviews. Like we're learning more and more about his fire and who he is and what he matters to him, what he cares about. I just love the fact that he's kind of like in an NBA game, he's kind of like a rapid fire machine gun. Like, this is a dude that can put up a lot of shots in a short period of time. And because of that, if he's hitting them, he can make a lot of points fast. And that's why I keep telling y'all he's going to get a 50-point game at some point. Because listen, he shot a lot last night. Let's look at his shooting stats right now. He shot 10 for 22, 9 of 15 from three-point land. You know, if he shoots like Fred did in that Orlando game last year, he's going to get a 50-point game in one of these games. And I think we should fully expect it at some point in his Raptor career in the next couple years. That Gary is, if he's efficient and he's actually hitting his shot like really, really good, like super hot. He seemed pretty hot last night, but he did go cold at different periods of time in the game where he couldn't hit anything. So it's very interesting and intriguing what we could see in the future from him. And once again, it's a weird kind of thing where he still isn't kind of like our main kind of scorer and our go-to guy in some ways. He's just kind of this guy that bails us out and takes shots throughout the game and gets high volume, which is good. But our go-to guy is still Pascal. Our go-to guy is more likely to be Fred in some cases at the end of the game in some ways, but that's good because if you have Gary lurking around at the end of the game and they need to kick it out, just like Fred did to OG at that one play near the end of the game and OG hit the three. That's the thing. You got OG or Gary out there ready to get a three from those guys penetrating. It's really good. Let's see. Andrew, Gary is one of the toughest shot makers I've ever seen. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, he seems like he's got a guy in his face. He doesn't care how close the defender is to him. He's like really good at dancing. He'll do his little step to the side, and he's just enough like to the side where the guy's like swinging just past him and he's shooting, he's making it. Or that jab step. That jab step's so nasty, and Fred does it too. That step in and then step back and then shoot it over them. It's really, really good stuff. And it is really kind of interesting how he can do it against a lot of players in this league. You know, there's some that can tie him up still and keep him covered, but a lot of players he can shake loose just by himself with those little footwork moves and stuff like that. It's really, really, really great for our team because we have a hard time manufacturing good shots at times. And the fact that he can do it in an instant just with his own like body and work, that's really, really good because that's what we were missing when he was out, and we were having a hard time getting our offense going. It stagnated a lot when Gary's out. So this is really good. Kawhi Leonard, will Kyle Lowry play tonight? No, he will not. Kawhi Leonard, he is not in the country of Canada. He is still wherever he is with his issues that are personal right now. He has to be there with, I'm guessing, with loved ones, and just basketball is not bigger than what's going on with him right now, which is too bad because it's the NBA season and he should be focused on the basketball, but there's something much more important than basketball right now for Kyle Lowry in his life. And I hope everything's okay. That's all I'm going to keep saying on this. But we know he's confirmed. He is not here. He won't be here. He did not travel with the team yesterday to go to Boston and was not there in Boston last night. And there's other guys that didn't travel either. Like I can tell you for sure there will be no Morris, Markieff Morris, no Yurt 7. He's their rookie, their big 7-foot rookie. He won't be here. Okapala is the other one. And, like I said, the other two guys, they didn't play last night, and there's a possibility they don't play again tonight. Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker. So there's your Miami Heat injury report real quick, Kawhi Leonard. And basically our side's the same. Is Goran being Goran, and Kem is still out apparently tonight still. But he was with the team. He's been with the team and been on the bench, and he's going to be back soon. Like he could be back on Thursday, Kem. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. All right, let's see. Would love a Herder off our bench. Yeah. Herder kind of role player is really good off the bench, but he's starting for their team. And Bogdanovich, that's a really weird team. And like I said, I knew at some point they're not as athletic or long as us, that's what's going to hurt them. That their guys are kind of run-the-mill, regular kind of basketball players that historically that you have in the NBA. And we've got the new age kind of NBA basketball player. And when they meet up at some ways, our guys, just because they have so much inherently in them all at once, they just dominate. They just do so much better in so many different ways. And I love it because they're getting to know each other more and more. When we see the positionless lineups with Fred not out there, it's just nasty. And I really liked how Nick rotated things last night. Now, once again, late in the game, he went too heavy with our starters. I would have liked to have seen Delano and Justin play in the second half as well. I don't like that kind of stuff, but I do like who he played last night. I felt like the guys that were coming in, Precious, Chris, Justin, and Delano off the bench are the right guys to be plugging in and playing in that game. And, they had different success, the different guys. I thought Precious was amazing last night. He didn't play a whole lot last night, but that alley-oop he had and some of the rebounding he was doing last night, just really emphatic, like two-handed. I love this about the Raptors. Like Scotty had a really crucial defensive rebound last night in traffic, but he grabbed it with two hands and strength and brought it down for us. And that's almost one of the most important things about defense is holding them to one shot by securing the defensive rebound. That's what ends the defensive possession is when you get the defensive rebound. So securing that ball is so important. And seeing how Scotty, Precious, Chris, Justin, how they go after the rebounds is really, really good because I feel like this team for the Raptors is one of the best rebounding Raptor teams ever in their history of our franchise that we've never had. Like we've had teams with Antonio Davis, Charles Oakley, and Kevin Willis on them. I would rival this team with them as far as our rebounding prowess and just how many weapons and different guys are invested in trying to get rebounds because it's throughout the whole lineup. Even Fred's down there getting them. So let's see what else is going on. Andrew saying, what I love about Gary is that he didn't back down when he got blocked by Okongwon. He stood up for Fred later when he knocked him down too. Yeah, listen, we were speculating who on this team could have that kind of Serge Ibaka, Charles Oakley kind of thing. And we always just think, oh, it's got to be a big guy. But no, maybe it's a little piece of every one of them. And that they all kind of give a little bit of their own ferociousness in their own way, whether it's Justin getting the scrap with PJ Washington the other day, Fred just showing determination and grit and being like, Pascal not backing down to Bobby Portis, OG just being a bull and being strong everywhere. And Gary is his attitude. It's like, I'm a killer. I'm going to mess y'all up. And, he's out there talking, he's chatting with the refs, he's chatting with the other team's bench. He's doing all this stuff, but he's backing it up. And that's the thing I love about it. He does definitely give us an edge that we need. And his edge right now is like a baller's edge, an edge where I was like, I'm going to get y'all and I'm going to burn you. And he can back it up. That's the important thing. It'd be bad if he was doing that and he couldn't back it up, but he's backing it up. And I love that. I love this edge we're showing because it's important. A team needs this kind of edge. They don't just roll over and die when somebody's beating them and stuff like that. They show up and they keep fighting no matter what. We're like this zombie that you can't kill. You can hit us with a shovel, Walking Dead, bam, put us on the ground, but then it just gets back up and keeps coming after you. And that's our team mentality right now. We don't quit. We don't die. We don't go away. And I love that. It doesn't matter how far down we are. We could be 30 points down and we're still coming back at teams and trying to make it close by the end of the game. That is huge. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Let's see what Monique's saying. See what I mean? We can stack up wins. Yes, this is, stack these wins. Stack. We've got a 2-game win streak right now, and we're in the middle of the fire. We're in the middle of this crazy stretch where we're playing so many games right now. Like, it's crazy. Even after this double-double day off, double-double, then we have a day off, and then another game on Sunday, and then another game on Tuesday. It's like they're hitting beats. This is Guitar Hero. You got to hit those beats as they come, because if you don't hit them, they're going to pass by you, and you're going to fail. So they got to be ready to go jump, and just hit all these beats. And some things seem to be lining up for us in some ways, whether it's the Miami injuries that seem to have happened since we played them on Saturday, or, just things like Trae Young yesterday, all of a sudden sitting out because of his shoulder getting contused from the Laker game on Sunday. So, who knows? We've had some bad luck with having to see tougher teams at really tough times, but now maybe we'll get a little bit of the other side of the coin for a little bit and have have some things work out for us in our own favor instead. Let's keep going. Pascal's interview shows how much he has matured as a leader. Fred and Pascal highlighting Gary's game on their IG account. Yes, all of them did. Like, I just got up this morning, I check all their Instagrams and I look at their stuff, and like 5 Raptors posted Gary's the thing celebrating Gary Trent Jr. last night. And they've done this before with different players and different things, whether it's been Fred or Pascal, OG. They're all celebrating each other. And it's just nasty. And I love this. Like, they keep talking about it, that they were glad that these are the guys that they're in the trenches with, that if they're going to be in a fight, these are the guys they pick. And I think I understand why. Because in some ways, the way that each of them are with each other, they make it so much easier for each other, like in some ways too. And they know that if they make a mistake, somebody may be able to be there to help them and fix the mistakes. Like our block shots right now are nasty. All of our defense around the rim, there's nothing easy coming for these good offenses that we're playing against. We've been playing some of the top 3-point shooting teams in the league recently, and they can't do shit against us because we rotate so quick and we have such long arms. Even when they do get a little bit of daylight, we have Chris Boucher coming at them with one big arm in their face, and they still miss it just because we agitate them enough. Like, that's all we need sometimes is just a run out at a jump shooter, and it messes up their shot. And it's so great. It's so amazing. Like I said, I feel like the Raptors team right now may be one of the greatest defensive and rebounding teams the Raptors have ever had right now. And it's even with these crazy top-heavy starter minutes. It's like that. It just is. All right, let's keep going. Monty Python, good morning. Let's go. Woo! All right, let's see. What are you saying this morning, Monty? All right, I got to catch up. You guys once again have gone off, and I will. Don't worry, I will get to everything that has been written on here. I always do. You know that. Holy crap! Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. All right, I'm gonna go a little fast. I'm gonna take your whole little bricks of comments here and read them all at once. Let's go. Gary Trent Jr. is my favorite player for over a year now. I knew this would come. I knew it. Galvanize. Dun, 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 yeah, I listen to Chemical Brothers, man. I love that song. Don't hold back. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Monty. All right, Monique's saying, so fun to watch that game. Shouldn't have been so close. Yeah, they did come back on us a bit. It was a different quarters. The first quarter last night, we won just barely at the end of it. And then the second quarter, they beat us, and they were leading by 9 at the half. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is really bad that they're beating us. But then again, I was also like, this isn't too bad a margin. We've come back on margins like that. And then at the end of the third quarter, we were up by 8. So that means we had like a 17-point swing in the third quarter. The third quarter was really huge for the Raptors last night. And a lot of it was Gary. Gary went off in the third quarter for 17 points, and that was the difference. We outscored the Hawks by 17 points in the third quarter. And then in the fourth, they started to get some steam again and try and come back on us and get involved in the game. But see, that's a good test for us. I'd much rather us have, in some ways, instead of a complete blowout where it's really easy, have these tests against good quality teams. Like this team last night, the Atlanta team, I'm not sure if they're a playoff team. They may be a play-in team. They may be just going to be in the play-in. I don't know if they'll make the top 6, but you know, they're a good quality team. So when we're having this battle at the end of the game where it's close and we have to be veteran, like execute on our offense to make sure we're hitting daggers to put it up higher than them and then stopping them on the other end, these are good exercises and workouts for our guys to get confidence and really get it enshrined into their way they play to win games like this that are close to a team that was a playoff team last year, and that we can see how we handle that kind of stuff. And that was really good. It's some people like Callie, her stress meter probably got high at different times because it was a little too close last night. But it's really good for the team because that means they're tested through really stressful clutch moments, and they executed. You know, they didn't make all of them, but you know what? This is the thing. If we can mess them up on the other end and make sure they miss just as much as we miss, and then we finally start making it, then it's okay. Because that's what happened in the overtime game with Miami. Same kind of thing last night. It's which one of these two teams is going to show up, have a player that hits some daggers and puts them up ahead, and it says, this is the game we want. It's like it's the astronaut on the moon, putting the flag in the moon. It's like, we want the moon tonight. Boom, Raptors flag. Who's going to do that? So, man, I like these close games because with time management and with having Fred and Pascal on our team, I really feel like we have an advantage in a lot of cases. Now, some of the more veteran tested playoff teams that are like higher up, like Brooklyn and stuff like that with Kevin Durant, you don't want to get into those kind of close games with them at the end of the game, or DeMar DeRozan in Chicago. But against teams that may not have as veteran leadership as we do, yeah, let's get in these close games. And by the end, like Charlotte and Atlanta, we'll mess them up in the last 5 minutes of the game. So We can't have it be close when we play Chicago or Brooklyn. That's the difference. We don't want to have it close against really good veteran teams. But if these teams are kind of like us and they're trying to figure it out still, I think we'll beat them just because we have Fred. So, all right, Monty Python. Gee, you made a great comment on another channel about OG being the ultimate team player. So true. Yeah, he's doing intangibles in different ways. It's like he's the glue guy. He really is the glue guy right now. In some ways, we have two glue guys, Scotty and OG, because these guys are both going out and filling different things, whether it's rebounds, trying to get steals, hitting shots here and there, just playing solid all around play. And OG did a couple of things. To me, some reason, I don't know. He said that he's being more slow and deliberate with his movements on the court, and it's bugging me because I feel like he could burst and be faster on the court, and he does look a step slow and something like that. It's awkward, but maybe it's good for him because if he plays at his own pace, maybe he plays better. I don't know. The jury's still out on that with me, with OG, but I do agree. He's playing at a high level. He's doing a lot of stuff on the low key that maybe most people wouldn't recognize or pay attention to, and he's doing a good job. Now they, what was it? We were getting in foul trouble last night early once again. Like the refs were a little shady at the beginning of the Hawks game last night, but it all evened out in the end, and they were fairly fair by the end of the game. I didn't feel like they were completely biased towards the Hawks, but I did in the beginning of the game. It seemed like they were putting a lot of calls on us right away and letting them get to the foul line way more than we were. And I was like, oh, this sucks. But they were pretty equal numbers at the end of the game. They balanced it out. And there were some good calls for us later on. But, of course, there's always ref bullshit. But it wasn't too bad. At the beginning of the game, they tried to set the tone and set up Atlanta to have an advantage with that because they want to take away our physicality by giving us some stupid fouls at the beginning of the game. Like some of the fouls that Scotty got last night were really dumb. Really dumb. Some of them were rookie fouls, but also they were a little bit touchy fouls by the refs. The refs being a little too quick with their whistle and maybe just like, yeah, you pushed him. That's why I called it on you because they were like asking, why did you call that on me? Well, you pushed him. He's like, you could see the ref basically telling them you pushed them. So it's like, I don't know, but it was okay because once again, I'm saying in my head, yeah, the rest can be shitty. We got to play against this good team, but we got to overcome all of it, and we did, and that's what matters. That's all that matters. All right, let's keep going. Andrew, I'm telling y'all, we can go on a big win streak, especially after getting these two big wins. I agree with this. We may have a loss here and there coming up, and because these are big games coming up. Like honestly, if we can win the rest of this week out, that's insane. Because honestly, that means we would beat Miami twice, we'll beat Chicago, and we'll beat Atlanta twice. Like that's crazy. That is crazy good, and I want to see it. I want to see us beat Chicago on Thursday. Because if we can beat Chicago on Thursday, that'll be a big statement in the middle of all this. Tonight may be easier than we think all of a sudden, just because guys may not be showing up tonight for the Heat. It may be a Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero kind of show tonight, and that's it. So we'll have to see. Monty Python saying OG has zero ego. Yeah, in some ways, I wish he would get more of an ego. Like, be a little bit more like Gary. Come on, OG, get a little bit more of an edge. Because I've seen you when you've gotten pissed off. Like, I've seen you when people have made you upset and you've decided that I'm going to be aggressive and go right the basket and jam it on some people. And I've also seen it where you've had a fire lit under your ass and you're going to do something crazy on defense and you're gone all out on defense. So OG is measured in how he plays, but there is another level of ferocious OG that is fun. And like over the years, we've been calling for it. And when we see it from time to time, it's so fun to see. Like when he's pissed off, you can tell when he's pissed off because he plays a whole different kind of way. And there was even a moment last night where it seemed like Scotty got pissed off at a certain moment and he was trying really hard. I think there was something going on between him and Gallinari last night. And there's something happened between him and Danilo Gallinari. And Scotty got real motivated at one point to like want to do some stuff on the court, which was very interesting to me. Let's see. Paul B. I think the starters are really, really setting an example for the bench. It's a nice wake-up call. I hope Masai can work his magic, and let's capitalize on all this development. Yeah. I mean, honestly, listen, we've seen our core. Anybody who's saying we need to go make a big trade and go get another big player, they're wrong. We need to get role players. We need to get bench guys. We already have enough guys on our team right now that are going to be amazing and are still expanding and growing that we need to take care of them. We want to set aside our money for the future with these guys. We don't want to bring in more guys like Miles Turner that will make it more hard to figure out the decisions later. we have our core. It's basically now we've got to find the role players that we want to fill out around it for needs that we need still. And that may be a good defensive center that can actually guard big centers, and a player like Herder or Lou Williams that comes off the bench and can score and shoot threes for us off the bench. Like, that's really what I see this we need to get to a championship. I don't think we need another superstar like a lot of Raptor fans are calling out for, because we have another superstar already on the team, and it's just growing within. And we know it's Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, Delano Banton, Justin Champagny, these guys are going to get better in the next year. Precious is going to get better in the next year. Gary could get even better in the next year. Fred and Pascal are supposed to be as good as they can get, but they're getting better too. And so is OG. So it's like we're getting the growth and the development within that we don't need to go hit a home run on the trade market. We don't need to do that. Although there is a lot of buzz right now saying that Dragic is going to get moved in the next 10 days. And we finally might get something good for him that we've been worried and pissed off at him all year, that finally we'll get the rewards from him, because I think it is going to happen. There's a lot of interest in his expiring contract for this summer, and I knew this was going to happen, that around the trade deadline there will be more attractive interest in moving Goran Dragic and getting him off our roster. And there's a lot of grumblings about it, that it's just already pretty much a done deal. There's enough different people that are looking at different things with us right now that it's going to happen by the 11th of February. So we'll see in the next 10 days how it happens. All right, let's see. Monty Python. He's saying, true, Alexi. It's like we starting to realize how to be effective together. It takes time to learn new teammates. Man, it really does. Yeah, it's just the little nuances, the little, tendencies. Like, you like to be in this spot. One of the things that we can really fine tune and hone later when we really know each other is this way we pass to each other. Like when Fred bounces a pass to Gary, he really wants to know how Gary likes to catch the ball in his hands so he can get the quickest release with the shortest period of time where the defender can't really get to him. And that can be really on the point guard or the passer, whether it's Scotty, whether it's Pascal, whether it's Fred, OG, whoever. They have to realize each of each other's tendencies that really work. This is what Magic did. This is why Magic was such a great point guard. Every single teammate of his, he knew in his mind how they like to catch the ball, whether it's a certain kind of spin, whether it's a certain height where they like to catch it on their, their chest level here, wherever. And he would try and tailor make it to get the ball delivered to them for the highest possible percentage of success. That he knew that if he set the table right for his shooter, they would more likely make it. And part of the problem is we're not getting the right kind of passes to each other to ensure that. And more that will get learned, and that will get better. That'll be an improvement right there. Like, think about it. These guys will shoot even faster and have better looking shots, partly because they know each other and how the ball they like to get the ball delivered to them. So it's stuff like that. It's that kind of fine tuning just in that particular area, but in all kinds of different areas with the Raptors, we can improve. And we're already winning and we're already dominating. So we can improve off of this dominance and winning already and make it another level of we're ensuring we're going to win. That's how we're going to become a good high caliber playoff team plus a championship contender. Is developing within, getting more familiar with each other, and just tighten it up, lessening all these mistakes, making our free throws, getting the best percentage shots by setting each other right and getting it right. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I know so much good stuff is going to be happening for the Raptors very soon. All right, let me see. Where was I here? Ronique saying we're going to be deadly come playoffs. Watch out, the NBA. Yeah, I think that part of why we won the game last night is we played with a playoff intensity, and the Hawks don't. We'll see how these Hawks do when they get in the playoffs or in the play-in. They may have a hard time dealing with this. And we're already playing at a playoff level. And I think in some sort of sick, twisted way, what Nick Nurse is doing is he's actually getting us very ready for the playoffs, because every night we play is like a playoff game. And that's what all the announcers are saying. This game has a playoff intensity. Well, it's because the Raptors are on the court. That's why, buddy. So it's crazy. I think Monique's right. I think we're just practicing and getting better and better. And we're practicing to be in the playoffs, basically. Monty Python, think about how long our core was together before they finally broke through and won. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You got to take time to cook it and make them good together. Think about teams like Portland. They've had the same guys, McCollum and Lillard, and these guys played together for so long. and they just don't get anywhere. They hit a certain ceiling and bump. They don't get any higher. We have ceiling that can go past every single Eastern team that's with us right now. Like we really do. Like, because we're already at a certain level and our ceiling could get higher, and it's just going to be excellence instilled more and more and just institutionalized. And as we get these gains, we're not going to go back to being less known with each other or less like good at it. We're just going to get better and better. So the writing's on the wall. The NBA's on notice. The Raptors are scary, and they're only going to get scarier. And they're going to really not want to play us. There's going to see more and more guys like Trey saying, yeah, maybe I won't play tonight, like Giannis did earlier this season. Yeah, okay, let's keep going. OG really cares about winning first, no ego. I don't think I've ever seen somebody quite like that before. OG really is a weird, unique kind of player. He's an enigma. Everybody thought he was really quiet, but now he's been on this tour. It's like, I'm not quiet. I talk all the time. He's just he's eccentric. He's a very interesting person. My buddy Stevie Roots is his favorite player. OG, I like OG a lot too. Like, I'm glad that he really is an established like Raptor and part of our franchise. Like, he really loves being a Raptor, and he's the kind of guy where I think he's like Fred and Pascal. He would stick and keep the band together, take less money just to keep guys together because he understands what we're doing here. And he's already got one ring with us. In some ways, I think that OG may want to stick around with us to get another ring just so he can prove that he would have been a big part of helping us win that 2019 ring if he hadn't had his appendix bust right before the playoffs started. So in some ways, he has some stuff to prove just because he missed that championship run. It's like, do you deserve your ring, OG, or not? I always thought that he deserved his ring, but he didn't play in the playoffs that year. So maybe he has a chip on his shoulder in that way, that he'd like to get to that level with Fred and Pascal and show that he should have been there helping them in the first time also. But in the second time, he could really help them. So I'm excited. I'm excited about what is going to happen with this team in the near future. Oh, yeah. Every single team would want someone like OG. I agree. I think every single team would want a defensive player that could possibly shut down the best offensive player on the other team night in, night out, whether they're a guard or a forward. Yeah, they want this guy. I mean, he's Dennis Rodman kind of level kind of defense in kind of way. So let's see. Monty Python, man, all these ballers usually a bit of ego or attitude, not OG. Yeah, that's the thing. Some of them are knuckleheads. Some of them do dumb things in the game that hurt their team. But some of them also, that kind of spirit can be important. Like Allen Iverson's spirit in that kind of way, that baller mentality is a big part of what carried his success. Is that he was so small as a player, he had to have that oversized ego and baller mentality to really get himself to that level because he had to believe in himself like that. And that's something that's in players, in either inherently or it isn't. Some guys are just really talented, but they don't have that killer instinct. And I love that Gary has a killer instinct because we're seeing it. Seeing Gary have a killer instinct right now. And sometimes I wish OG had more of that killer instinct. Like, it's really just kind of being aggressive to find your shots and making them no matter what. And sometimes OG's just kind of going through the motions and doing fundamentally what he should be doing. And he makes it and he does well. But in some ways, I'd like to get him more angry like Gary and be like, yeah, I'm going to show y'all up. I'm going to talk a little trash. I'm going to put the ball in the basket. So let's see. G saying, yep, he deserves a ton of credit for that. Tom Duke. Good morning, Tom Duke. Good win last night. Lots of Raptors ball on these days. It's so fun, especially when we are winning. Let the world know about our starting five. Yes. The secret is getting let out more and more. Tom Duke, should I do a real Raptor mascot matchup for today? We're playing the Heat again, so let's make this interesting. Okay, listen. The Heat are coming to Toronto tonight. And the Heat is a heat. It's like, it's a temperature. It's not even like a real thing or a person. It's a temperature. Well, you know what, Heat? You can't live here because I'm going to tell you right now, Heat, you know what's coming tonight? A snowstorm. Yeah, there's another freaking snowstorm coming to Toronto tonight. Yeah, I seen the weather. I know what's coming. And the snowstorm doesn't allow for heat. So you're going to find out real quick tonight. You're going to see a blanket of snow, a new blanket of snow on the ground tonight while you're playing, and it's going to come out there. And one thing I don't like about this is the Raptors. I was hoping that we get this thaw day yesterday. We got a bit of the snow off the ground. It's warmer today. It's nicer, that we could get some nice weather for the next 3 days while the Raptors are in town for this little short home stretch. Because I mean, this is how much I love the team. Is I don't want Scotty to see how cold and crazy it gets up here in some ways. I want to hide the Canadian winter from NBA players that I want to stay in Toronto. So hopefully he'll look at it as a novelty. He can stay inside and not get out in it. But if he wants to go out and make a snow angel or something like that tomorrow, sure, go ahead. Enjoy the novelty of it. But please, Canadian weather, please be better for while the Raptors are in town so that we're not influencing them to not want to play in Canada because the weather is so bad. And I think we're going to get a dump tonight, which sucks. So, but anyway, at least these guys are on such a heavy schedule. They're not going to be traveling around so much. Like tomorrow, I'm pretty sure Nick may have a practice for the guys who aren't getting to play much, but any of these starter guys, they're not going to be doing anything but laying in bed tomorrow also, just like they did on Sunday. And that is really the best way to deal with these off days in between this really hectic schedule, is don't make these guys do anything physical on the off day. Just let them have their body resting and recharging, because it's almost like the games are like practice mentality kind of times now, is that the game is practice because they're coming so fast and furious right now. It's crazy. It's so crazy. But yeah, there's your real mascot matchup for tonight. It's real. It's just real. There's a snowstorm coming tonight. So ain't no heat in Toronto. No, there ain't. There ain't no heat in Toronto tonight because there's a snowstorm coming and it's going to be cold. Oh, yeah. Actually, it's not as cold when it's snowing, though, at least. Minus 10 or a lot of snow. That's what you got to, kind of look at. All right, let me see. Where am I here with? I was just talking with Tom Duke. Paul B, it feels like our losses are development, so we could just beat you night in and night out, but we lose and learn and come back stronger. Seeds don't matter to us. Yeah, I like this attitude, Paul, is that like every loss is a lesson. It is development. It's something for Scotty and Gary and OG, these guys to learn from. When Pascal and Fred are unsuccessful in clutch moments, they learn from it. And they decide that they know what they did wrong, and they try to not let it happen again. And that's the trial and error of it, is that you have to dare yourself to be in those situations and take the chance and have the guts to try and put something on the line. And then if you're unsuccessful, you take all the shit from the fan base. You take all the shit just from like, oh, you're a loser, you didn't make it, and you learn from it. And I feel like it's fine-tuning for Pascal and Fred at this time. That they've already been in this process for a couple years now. That Pascal has been pretty much since the bubble, since that season when Kawhi left, he had been already going through this, like, you're clutch, you're important, you need to make shots for us. Oh, you missed, you suck, we hate you. Oh, you made it, you're great. And that's the thing. They're really going to start making them more often, because they know what they're doing more and more. It's like DeMar. DeMar's refined it and gotten better and better at being clutch. And that's led to like these crazy three-point shots at the end of 2 games in a row and a back-to-back. It's the same kind of stuff that Pascal and Fred are doing with their late game clutch part of their game, is finding success in each individual moment. And the moment last night that really showed it for me was when Fred drove to the lane, had that low dribble, and he just scooped it over to OG for that 3 at the end. That was the right decision. I was really, really mad at Fred in some ways, because he continued to do what I was trying to tell him not to do the last couple of days, is going to the basket without a direct plan with yourself to score is bad, because you're looking to pass and they're going to start looking at you looking to pass. But he did it in a way last night in that last play where it looked conceivable that he would try and lay it up. And he may have made the right decision, because it looked like the Atlanta defenders were right there and probably would have blocked a lay-in, and him just scooting it over to OG and him hitting that 3. That was the right decision. And that's what I'm talking about. They're making better decisions in those crucial split-second moments. And that, yes, really good stuff. Let's see. Monty Python, Trent and OG are a dangerous combination, man, because both of them only care about winning first. All of them really, but those two especially. Gary and OG kind of contrast, but are similar at the same time. Deadly duo. I like that pairing. Yeah, they're cool. And they're buddies. They're buddies. And they are really different, like personalities. Like it probably could be a cool sitcom, The Odd Couple. OG and Gary. And I'd watch that show if they just did like some weird thing where they were roommates and you saw the inside of their lives, like, day to day, like the real world or something like that. That'd be a fun show to watch. I like that. I really think all of them, they all want to win. It starts at the top. Masai Ujiri is basically the gatekeeper. He's saying, you want to win? You want to win? And that if you don't say yes, you're out. You got to go. He's like, he only wants guys that are on the same page with the whole entire franchise, and that's winning. They just want guys that are winning throughout. They're not there for themselves. They're not there for their next contract. They're not there for their own ego. They're there for the collective and to get Larry O'B's, because that's the tone set by Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri and Nick Nurse, that they said, this is, we're about winning. And these guys are just echoing it in their own individual ways. And I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. All right, let's see. Watch Pascal's interview. He said we were looking for Gary this game. Fred drawing in the D to get OG that shot. Yep, just talking about that. Barnes not forcing shots, but doing the dirty work. Yeah, Barnes was really good on the defensive end for the most part, and also really good with the rebounding. Like I said, I love seeing our guys rebound with two hands, grabbing that ball like this and bringing it down. That's just classic great rebounding. So important. And if it's not like that, it'll be something like a Chris Boucher tip, like with that tip he did to Fred, where you got that 3-pointer. That was another great little play where you keep it active with your tip of like tipping the ball over. And that's something that Kem does really well when he's healthy and he's in the game. He tips the ball back out to Fred a lot on the offensive end. And once again, Chris Boucher showing some Dennis Rodman kind of stuff out there, like whether it's hustling down, like to try and block shots, whether it's hustling to get rebounds, just a lot of good hustle play last night by Chris in different places. If you paid attention, you'd see it. Like see him busting his ass all over the place, but not necessarily for scoring. He's busting his ass for rebounds and defensive assignments and getting to loose balls. Like, I love it. And he posted that Rodman pick again of Rodman by any means necessary is what it said on it. And it's basically Rodman sacrificing his body, going out of bounds to try and get the loose ball. And that's the way he's thinking right now. That's what Chris is doing right now. He's all about being Dennis Rodman 2022 right now. And I love it. I'm so here for that. I am so here for that. Kenny, good morning, man. Always loving to talk to you, man. Loving Nick Nurse, the actor. I see him winning an Emmy. Okay, so Kenny, you watched the Murdoch Mysteries episode last night where Nick Nurse is in the episode, and I think he plays a basketball coach. I'm not sure. Does he play Dr. James Naismith in that episode? Because he looks kind of like Dr. James Naismith, the great Canadian inventor of basketball, the guy who invented it in Springfield, Massachusetts, when he put some peach baskets up and they threw some volleyballs into them and stuff like that. I want to see that episode. I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to watch it, Kenny. But I'm sure it was really good and entertaining. Monty Python, skip to my loo, then splash right in your mug, fam. Are you saying skip to my loo or something about Lou Williams? Are you talking about Gary Trent and how he does a little dance around him and makes a shot? They all care about each other and winning. Love it. Yeah, they're a collective. They're all together. This is the thing. Other teams have stratification. I shouldn't say stratisfaction. That just shows that I'm an Attitude Era wrestling fan of Trish Stratus. No, stratification on the rosters. You have LeBron and Russell, and then you have these guys. And then somewhere down here, you got Stanley Johnson. These guys are one for all and all for one. And even with this division between the starters and the bench, these guys have a carryover between each other and a collective and a support and everything within that is great. Like, Malachi and these guys, they'll say, yeah, we'd like to be playing, but we're also really happy to be winning because they know that that's really good and important for them also. So they're about the same thing. Even the guys who aren't getting to play right now, they're very happy and glad to see it. Guys like Yuta, they can be supportive and have a really nice time on the bench, and they're learning. They should be learning. They should be sitting there and watching them, what they're doing and learning and trying to improve themselves and get their opportunity to get in there again. So it's really just, they're good character guys, and they are on the same page. That's what matters. Monique saying Justin Champagne's rebounding was so nice, and don't forget Gary Trent Jr.'s defense as well. Yeah, Justin, once again, getting out there. He didn't play a whole lot last night. Only 3 minutes, but he hit a putback shot off of an offensive rebound that was really good. and he got one foul. And then Delano 0 for 2, but he had some nice stuff out there. He had 2 really good steals that were good at the time when he was out there. But I would have liked to seen both those guys play more in the second half. Like, I understand he gets them in there for that little bit of around the second quarter, but then we didn't see them at all in the second half, and we didn't really see a whole lot of Precious in the second half either. So he really did go really heavy on the starting 5 last night, and I don't totally agree with that because of this week, but hey, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep doing what you're doing, Nick, because it's working. So let's see. Monty Python. I've never seen such a dedicated group to winning ever and truly mean it. They all say it, but actions speak louder than words. Yeah. You know, it is just part of our DNA as a franchise. And it's been like this. It was built like this through Kyle and DeMar. This has been the Raptors on the down low all along. We were doing this since Masai's been here. Masai got here just after 2010, somewhere around there. So there's been about 10 years of this kind of mentality on the down low. It's just that we had to work to the fruition of the 2019 championship. And now we want to establish and keep that kind of mentality as a franchise, even though everybody else in the NBA wants to say you can't have it anymore, because we took all your best players and you just have a couple of your championship players. Well, you know what, motherfucker? We can still have it because we still got our boss, and we still got Fred VanVleet, and we still got Pascal Siakam and Nick Nurse. So listen, we can still have this, and we are going to have it, whether you guys want us to or not. You can submarine us by taking Kawhi Leonard away from us. You can do all this different shit, take all our centers away the next summer, but we're going to get there no matter what, because we're on a mission. And the mission will not be stopped. It will not be stopped. We're like the Blues Brothers. We're on a mission. Yeah, we're on a mission. And it's just to get that second Larry O.B. And then nothing's going to get in the way. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen. It's going to be happening. So let me keep going here. You guys are great this morning. I love this. Miami got torched. Yes, click 2 a.m. 30 points, 92-122 last night against Boston. Like I said, Jimmy didn't play. PJ didn't play. They didn't have Kyle Lowry. It was basically Bam Adebayo in those three-point shoot guys. So, you know, they may be in trouble tonight. You know, Jimmy Butler is their best player, honestly. He really is. He's their best all-around player. That's no disrespect to Kyle, no disrespect to Bam Adebayo, but Jimmy Butler is their man. And if he's not playing, that's a totally different kind of Miami team. And I don't think Bam does as well when Jimmy's out of the game. And he hasn't actually come back yet very well from being injured. Like, he has not had huge games yet. He's played us twice since he's been back, and he hasn't been super impressive playing against us. I'd like to continue that. And I think part of that is just the makeup of our team and how we just can really bug him. Like, he turns one corner, there's another long guy who can guard him pretty good. So it's like you can't work anywhere. So, yeah, they got torched last night. Hopefully we can torch them again. Let's give them another loss and put them on a losing streak. And I'm sure DeMar DeRozan and the Chicago Bulls will thank us on Thursday that we've been helping Miami lose and put them back in the first place in the Eastern Conference. Okay, let's see. Monty Python. I realize there's no perfect team in the NBA. We are still able to exploit and defend teams that have them. Miami got torched because teams spend all their energy trying to beat us. But what did we do? Continue to roll. Yeah, every team's got flaws. Some teams are better and they're more refining things. Like the stuff that's going on with the Phoenix Suns right now is really interesting. Like, it's really interesting how Bismack Biyombo has had such a huge impact on the Phoenix Suns right now. Like, literally, they're undefeated with Bismack playing a certain amount of time on their team. Which is very interesting because we know the Bismack effect from the year that we had him on the Raptors. That year we went to the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we actually won 2 of the games in that series. It went to 6 games, and we won 2 of them. And that had been the best that we had ever done against LeBron and the Cavs during that period of time with Kyle and DeMar. And part of that was Bismack Biyombo and his amazing athleticism and skill. This is crazy because Bismack was kind of a portend into the future of our team now. But the thing about Bismack is he can't shoot. He can do a lot of the other stuff. He can't dribble either. But he's being such a key factor for Phoenix Suns, and it's really interesting to see. But, yeah, every team's got problems. Every team's got problems. Even Brooklyn right now has some major problems right now that they've got to deal with. Philadelphia's still got problems. Even though Embiid's playing absolutely out of his mind right now, they still have problems. And we know Boston's got problems. And the Knicks' problems right now are awful. Like Julius Randle has to leave New York at this point because he's actually really toxic for the New York Knicks right now. He's teaching the young players bad stuff, and he's just a really bad character guy. And it's really crazy how that's changed in just a year. Last year, he was an all-star, and everybody loved him, and they thought he was the best, and coming back into New York, and now they all hate him. They can't wait for him to leave. So it's this is the thing. You can have problems on your team. We don't want these kind of problems that these other teams have, like Ben Simmons, Kyrie, and James Harden saying he wants to get traded already in the offseason, that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's keep going. Click 2 a.m. If we didn't have sports right now, I'd be in a tough place. Canada is an unknown territory right now. We need unity, man. Okay, if you're all right, I'll talk about this stuff that's going on in Ottawa right now, just real quick. There's some good things behind what they want to do, but the problem is that it's been hijacked by the wrong people. There's a lot of neo-Nazis. There's a lot of racists. There's a lot of really bad, awful people involved in this truck convoy right now, which is messing up their message. And their message in some ways is okay. I am all for freedom. I'm all for not having mandates in certain ways. But I think in this case, you're a little misguided just because, first of all, 90% of the truckers are vaccinated, and this would not affect most of them. This is only affecting a very vocal minority that actually is a bunch of jackasses because they're not necessarily there because of the trucking industry. The trucking industry doesn't give a shit about this. These are just people that want to take an opportunity to replicate their own little Canadian January 6th. And it's messed up because they're desecrating important places in the capital of Canada right now in the same way that these jackasses did last year in the U.S. So as much as I support someone that what they're saying, they're going about it the wrong way and they're full of shit. So anybody who's supporting the truck convoy right now, you really got to sort through it because you're supporting racism, you're supporting hate, and you're supporting a lot of other fucked up things. So try and keep it delineated. We can support and get a cause that's better that doesn't have all the racists and the skinheads at it. Because when you show up and you have racists and skinheads with you, you're always on the wrong side. I'm sorry. You just are. So, yeah, I don't think we're as divided, though, Click. I will say this. I think that there's just a very vocal minority that's making a big fuss and that most of us are on the same side, that most sane, smart Canadians understand what's right and what's wrong in this situation, and we're not divided. We're all together still. It's not as bad as the States, trust me. If there's a conservative and liberal divide in Canada, it's mainly geographic, and it's not all mixed together, sure. But we also, in some ways, we get along way better. We have much more civility and not as much of this crap that's going on in the States. That we do kind of have a lag effect where we seem to mimic the States a couple years after what's happened. And we don't want to go through, like, if Justin Trudeau is our Barack Obama, we do not need somebody showing up and being our Donald Trump. So we really need to think about this as Canadian voters and not allow us to follow the cycle of our neighbors downstairs because they've made a lot of fucked up mistakes in the last couple of years, and we don't need to make them just because we saw them make them. And that's kind of what happened with George W. Bush became Stephen Harper. So we need to think about this, guys, when we're going to the next couple elections and make sure that we protect our democracy in Canada. Because the United States democracy is in big trouble right now. There are people that are coming to take away voting rights from a lot of people right now with legislation, and there's a lot of huge, serious issues where the U.S. is not going to be able to say that it's a democratic country anymore. They're very, very much leaning towards Germany 100 years ago right now, and they need to watch out. And anyway, that's enough. I'll go on that little tangent just because you brought this up. I like to think that Canada is not divided. We're all together still. We're still working hard and doing the things together. We just have these jabronis. They're driving around in trucks right now, shitting in on the side of the road and shit like that right now. Who cares? They're idiots. Don't give them any attention. They have no power. That's part of it is we're all giving them too much attention and it's giving them too much power. They're too much on the media and all this kind of stuff. It's stupid. But it's not that I don't support having something like people that want to go and demonstrate for good causes. But once again, I said, once the racists show up, once the skinheads show up, once you see swastikas and stuff like that, you're on the wrong side. So go home, or at least go somewhere different away from those people and have your own separate thing. And as soon as they show up, tell them to get the fuck away from you because they ruin your whole cause. They do not allow you to have any kind of, real voice, because they are racist, they are wrong, and they need to fucking go away. All right, hang on. All right, sorry, I had to go off on that just for a little bit, because I haven't really talked about this whole situation recently. And once again, this is a Raptors live stream, but I am a person that will talk about anything that's going on in the world right now, just because I'm open like that, whether it's my alcoholism, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever. So, all right, Monty Python, listen, those three overtimes go one of two ways. Either you are crushed and demoralized for a week from a loss, or it galvanizes you and forward and booster. Yeah, I agree with that. And actually, honestly, if we had lost that game, yeah, it would have hurt. It would have sucked, but there would have been some respect earned for the Raptors regardless, just for going so toe-to-toe with them for so long in that game. So I agree with you that it is a good momentum builder, and we're really going off of it now, especially stopping the streak for Atlanta last night. That was huge. Huge. Click 2 a.m. Gary Trent hitting big shots. Yeah. Gee, positionless lineups are crazy. 1 money playing center, the next 1 minute playing center, the next running point. I know Scotty is weird. I hate, once again, at the beginning of the game, they put Pascal at the C spot on Sportsnet when they show the graphic of the starting lineups. Pascal's not the starting center. It's Scotty. Because he's jumping the jump ball and he's guarding the biggest guy underneath the basket usually. And Pascal doesn't have that burden like he did last year. So it's Scotty. Scotty is our starting center backup point guard. That is what Scotty Barnes is right now. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Click 2 a.m. Fred making amazing reads and hitting shots when it actually matters. I think getting bench depth should be the main priority at the deadline. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that that's the smart thing to do. Turn Dragic into something gold, something that just adds to what we already have. Somebody who can actually contribute off the bench with some scoring, and that would be really, really huge. And yeah, I want to talking about Fred. He's just doing the right stuff. He's picking and choosing his spots. He's kind of not forcing his will on the game like he may have been at the beginning of the season. He was very, very like have to have the ball, control the ball. I'm passing here. He's able to kind of go off to the side and let the other guys kind of operate, whether it's Pascal doing what he wants to do or Scotty handling the ball a little bit like that. That's really good, because when we put so much on Fred's shoulders, it's tough. That's where it gets worn out. But I think he sees, like, we got all these different guys carrying the load equally together, that there's not so super much pressure on Fred and Pascal like there has been in the past. That now we got guys that can kind of take some of that pressure off them, whereas Gary, Scotty, and OG, Precious, Chris Boucher, stuff like that. So let me keep going here. Monique saying not having Trey really helped us too. Yeah, I'm disappointed when these big players don't play against us. We want to see these teams at their best. And yesterday in the preview, I said we're getting Atlanta at 100%, but we didn't. We did not get to see them with their very best player, and that's too bad. But in some ways, it also makes me think, it's like, Trey, sure, you got a contusion in your shoulder from the Lakers on Sunday, but is it partly that you don't want to play the Raptors tonight and that you're not feeling it? You're just not feeling it. It's the second night of a back-to-back. You're already kind of hurt, and you just don't want to deal with the Raptors? Because I think that's sometimes part of it. And it may be that some of these Heat guys don't want to show up tonight because of the same thing. It'll be interesting to see if Jimmy Butler's playing tonight or PJ Tucker. Those two guys don't play tonight. It'll be a lot easier game for us to win, for sure. And yeah, it was easier without Trey last night. I'll agree, Monique. I don't put him down. He's a good player. He's a really good player. Monty Python, it is a psychological devastation to lose a 3 overtime game. It's human nature. No, I don't think it's a devastation. I think you're over embellishing just how bad that is. I think that at a certain point, when you played such a great effort like we did after one overtime, we already had the respect of the league, and these guys can say they put it all on the court. Because honestly, in this situation, the Raptors losing a 3 overtime game to Miami on Saturday night, that's us where we are in the standings, losing to the number 1 team in the East. And there's no slouch in that. In fact, there's respect gained and earned from that, and learning and development from that, as we've said before with Paul, is that even that kind of loss is a great loss, because you showed that you could hang with the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, and you really went toe-to-toe with them. So even if we had lost the game on Saturday, it would have been a boost for us, even though, that's what I'm saying, I don't think it's as devastating as you think, is because sometimes these guys, they play all their ass off and they leave it all on the court. They can't be mad at themselves even if they lost, because they know they did every single thing possible. and their energy to try and get the win. So it's that kind of thing, really. So let's not over embellish it or make it sound worse than it is. That's another thing in life. You can make things worse just by spinning in your head worse. So if you want to spin it bad, oh, this is devastating, we lost, then it will be. But if you want to spin it in a way, well, we gave it our best there, we tried. You can win that way too. It's you can make things a lot worse in your own head just by how you set it up. So you kind of think about it that way too. That's good life skills just in general with your own life. Don't make something worse than it is already. You can minimize bad things in your life by saying, well, I can deal with it this way, and you get through it in better ways. So, all right, let's keep going. Click 2 a.m. The Hawks have a tough schedule coming up. Hopefully they lose a couple and we keep winning. Yeah, we'd like to keep the Hawks down low. People keep saying, oh, they're surging. They're on this win streak from 10th all the way up into the play-in bracket. Well, they don't have to go any higher. It's not given that they're going to get into the top 6. Everybody's saying, oh, they're going to get in the top 6 because they were a playoff team last year. No, fuck that. The Raptors are going to get in the top 6 because we've been kind of trying to get this momentum going with our injuries and COVID and all this kind of stuff. And now we're finally getting this truck out of the mud and we're going to start heading down the road. So it could be us that's going up there to usurp one of these top 6 and put them down into the play-in bracket. Like, I'd like to see Cleveland go down there. Cleveland, I don't really think that they're a top 6 team, even though they're moving up right now. They're actually closer. It's like those top 6 are so clustered together. I want to get in that group with them. I really do. We got to pass Charlotte, and then we got to get up in that top 6 with those guys. And one of them's got to start losing and fall out. And hope, Brooklyn's even having a trouble right now. They're near the bottom of the top 6 right now, actually. I think they are 6th, Brooklyn. And they're having a couple of problems. I mean, Durant's been hurt, and Harden's saying he doesn't want to play for them anymore. They're only 3.5 games ahead of us right now, Brooklyn. So we come up there and take them and put them in the play-in. Nobody will see that. Yeah, Brooklyn in the play-in. All right, let's see. Monty Python, we saw it firsthand. Click 2 a.m. Miami's more tired than us. Miami played a back-to-back for that triple overtime and now a back-to-back again. Yeah, I agree with this in some ways. Everybody's saying, oh, how are we going to deal with Miami on the second night of back-to-back? Well, they're on the second night of a back-to-back too. And they were on the second night of a back-to-back the first time we played them. We had to rest the day before. So there is some truth to this, that it may be that like Miami's really worn out at this point because they have a crazy-ass schedule like we do too. So it's going to be interesting. I think they may continue to lose, especially if these guys don't come back sooner. If Kyle's not back soon, they may start losing more, especially if Jimmy and PJ are going to be out for a while now. So let's keep going. G says, other YouTubers are saying Raptors playing bully ball. Love it because truthfully, I thought they were a bit soft at the beginning and needed an enforcer type. Yeah, OG's definitely playing some bully ball. There's different things. The bully ball is on the defensive end. Like, we really bully people on the defensive end, and we're very physical. We are, half the time we are fouling people, and we do need to get these fouls sometimes called on us. It is fair, but I like the intensity. It's the similar thing at the beginning of the year when they were letting everything go. You could play with this crazy-ass physicality in the game, and we're still kind of trying to find that right balance of the physicality that we can put out on defense with the referee's whistle. And it really is a bully ball. I like that description. I think that it makes sense, especially when you see OG do some of the stuff that he does down low, or the fact that our positionless scheme gets this mismatch down near the basket, and there's a little guy, and OG's just dunking on him because he's just like getting the ball thrown to him, and then he turns around and dunks on him. That's bully ball right there too. And I love it. I love it too, because it's not necessarily been a trait of a Raptors franchise in the past, where we could bully people because of our size. We've always chronically been undersized at different places on our roster. And it's not that case anymore. And that's part of the reason why I want to continue going in this positionless future, is because this is an advantage for us. And we want to continue to build on it. So it's really, really good. Really, really good. Click 2 a.m. If we finish these 8 games with a positive record, that will be huge. I think our schedule gets easier after middle of next week. Yeah, it does. This little stretch is really tough. And then we're going to see like Oklahoma City and Houston on the next road trip. And, there's a couple of tough games in there also. There's a little bit of a mix. But looking at the rest of the year, we have one more big West Coast trip that's going to be a little difficult. But it does also have the Lakers on it. Yes, the Lakers. We get both our Laker games around then. But that is maybe like some of the toughest stuff we have to do other than the Brooklyn back-to-back. is, that's the other thing I got to tell y'all. When we do that Brooklyn back-to-back, this isn't actually, I just looked at it really closely. We're not only doing this crazy 4 out of 5 nights that we're doing this week, we're going to do a 6 out of 8 nights. Yeah, a 6 out of 8 nights stretch where we have a back-to-back, a day off, a back-to-back, a day off, and then a third back-to-back. Yeah, I just realized that. And that's around that Brooklyn home at home back-to-back is in that back-to-back, back-to-back, back-to-back. So we're going to do 3 back-to-backs in a row within 8 days. That is insane NBA scheduling. But I love these challenges. I think these guys are going to really, hopefully nobody gets hurt and everything just goes smooth and we do win. But yeah, what you're saying is we get mostly wins this week during this 8-game stretch. That's fantastic. And now I think we've won 3 out of 4 of these 8 games right now. So we're 3-1 Yeah. 3-1 because we only lost the game to Chicago. We beat Miami, we beat Charlotte, and we beat Atlanta. The first game we played each of them. So we're 3-1 so far in that 8. So it's looking good. Monty Python. Well, I ain't crying for Miami at all. Nobody was crying for us for 2 years. We are so handsy and aggressive. Yeah, you know what? Listen, we don't cry for anybody else, and they don't cry for us. This league is like this, man, and that's why we in the past would cry and we wouldn't get anything, and we're just like, it's stupid. Why are we doing this? We just got to shut up and persevere and get through this, whether it's the foul calls, whether it's this or that or whatever. So the guys are like this. It's just we got to play through all the adversity, all the stupid shit, playing in Tampa, not having fans, all this kind of stuff. It's just part of our DNA of winning and going through adversity and doing whatever it takes to get there, no matter what. It doesn't matter. We're going to do it. Let's keep going. And click 2 a.m. NBA Chev was right. All these teams show up against us, but the next game they look like crap. Well, yeah, they got to put a good effort against us because they expect, because of our MO, that we're going to come out and punch them in the face. So they want to be the first one to come out and punch us in the face. And they realize we're going to be very physical, we're going to be very energetic, and that they're going to have to play their asses off against us. And sometimes we tire them the fuck out. And then in the next game, they just don't have any juice. So that may be part of the effect, is that they're facing us, they're giving us their best effort, and then afterwards they're exhausted and they go and play the next team, and it's a bit of a letdown and they get beat because they can't do it again. Because, but Chev's great. Chev is great. I agree with him like maybe 95% of the time. I agree with NBA Chev. All right, let me see. Okay, yeah, it's funny because it's like I talk about something, I catch up to the comments about what I was saying earlier. So we'll see what I said. Oh man, I got to catch up. Okay. All right. Monty's saying like Trent is a whack job out there, ripping balls from people's hands. Fred rips balls from hands. Scotty, Pascal dives all around the floor. It's a total group effort on the defensive end. Like I've never seen this. We could become the best defensive team in all time in a couple of years. No cap. I agree with this. Like, honestly, we can do certain special things defensively that no team in the history of the NBA has ever done, just because of our makeup and us being ahead of the curve with being the future of the NBA. And I think this is going to happen. Paul B, Spicy B is back and in full effect. Oh, yeah, man. Spicy P is so good. Pascal is the man. And I'm so glad that he is our guy because he's just perfect, humble, like doing it for his dad, just a hard worker, just a great dude. And he's the perfect kind of leader for a good team. Like, he really is a good dude. Monique saying Raptors number 14 in ESPN power rankings. Okay, that's good. That's better than 20. That's better than way down there that they've been putting us in for most of this year, and that's really good. Okay, you guys are talking about the mascot matchup. The Hawk mascot really saw Grandpa last night. That's what I was saying. It really kind of went down just like how I said in the real mascot matchup yesterday. We came out there and they looked like some popcorn chicken. We just gobbled them up. Just go, oh, and they were done. And that was it. It was pretty funny. Raptors fouls you on every possession. That's bully ball. Yeah, we foul them a lot, but we also don't. Part of what the discussion is between Gary and Fred and different players with the refs is they want to learn how to do it without getting called for the foul. So they're saying, well, if I come up this way with my hand and you know I'm not hitting their arm or their hand, I'm hitting the ball, then you can't call a foul. And that's part of why Gary's so good at stealing the ball right now, is that he's gone with the refs, talking to them and said, well, if I do it this way, will you call a foul? No. Okay, well, then I'll do it that way. They've really figured out how to do it so that they know they won't get a foul call because they know how to do it clean. And that's a huge, huge advantage and smart. And that's what you should be doing as an NBA player. That's what the discussion is with the refs when you get a foul. Is that, well, tell me what I could do differently in the future to avoid you calling the whistle. And that's what builds that. And these guys, Fred learned it from Kyle, like the strip and all this kind of stuff that he's still doing. And Gary, the stuff with his coming up under to steal balls, just with his quick hands, is really good. And it is really basically getting with the refs and saying, well, if I do this with my hand, will you call me the foul then? And he's like, no, you'll be fine if you do that, if you get all ball. So, okay. And that's how they learn how to not get fouls. That's half of what that stuff they're talking about is out there. You guys ever wondered? That's what they're saying. Okay, let's see. Push offs on rebounds. Yeah, everybody pushes off in the league. And that one push off that Scotty got called for is because he's rookie. Or Justin got a push off foul. And it's basically like the vets know how to do it. And Alvin even said it in the broadcast last night. The vets know how to do that little push off when you're getting position for a rebound where you won't get called by the refs. But these rookies don't know yet. They're not totally savvy to it. And if they do it blatantly in front of the ref, they'll call it, especially because they're rookies. So Scotty and Justin have to watch out for those kind of push fouls and where they're doing it and when they're doing it. They can get away with it if they hide it better, is basically what I'm saying. Yeah, Raptors may not have an enforcer, but they're tough by committee. Yeah, I agree. I think they're just imposing in general and scary. They're scary. People don't want to play them, especially smaller guards. I think the guards on the other teams, when they come in and they're like 6'4" and they realize they're playing a bunch of guys that have these crazy wingspans, that they're not going to have fun. And that may be part of the reason why Trae Young's like, I don't even want to run the gauntlet of these crazy long-limbed Raptors tonight. That it's just going to be really messed up. All right, Andrew said that early tech on Pascal was so sketchy. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff early in the game where they were obviously the refs were trying to box us in with our aggression and our intensity. And I'm glad that we still play through it and we find a way around it. They were pretty equitable with how they distributed the fouls on our guys. Everybody was getting one, but everybody was getting them. And yeah, that tech on Pascal, I didn't totally agree with it. It was basically Pascal was coming out of the game and he said something under his breath to that ref. And that ref kind of like took it personal and gave him a tech just as he's walking by. It was probably could have been avoided. Pascal probably should have just waited another 5-10 seconds till he got the bench and said what he wanted to say, instead of saying it so close to him so that he could hear him. So Monty Python, Gary will rip the ball out of your hands from behind and stare at you talking trash all the way back up the court. Yeah, that one steal in the Miami game where he came and he dogged and stole it, and then he did that really nice layup. That was really interesting because he was talking trash during it. So all right, Monique, news and notes. 905 winning streak ends. Raptors are streaking now. Did anybody watch Murdoch Mysteries? Okay. Yeah, the 905 played last night. Capital City Go-Go kind of have our number at that level. They've beaten us every single time we played them. They're 3-0 against us so far this year. It's just a tough matchup. I don't know if it's Greg Monroe or what it is. It's just weird. It's just weird that Capital City beats us. David Johnson was back from COVID protocol and played in the game last night. He played okay. It was Bonga, him, and Reggie Perry and the regular crew. Another 905 note, just real quick this morning, they waived Romero Gill. So the 7-foot guy that's on their team is not on our team anymore. This whole period of like COVID call-ups from the G League is over for the most part. So now the teams in the G League have to condense their rosters. So they cut Gill this morning, actually. So, and the 905 are playing again tonight. I didn't mention it yesterday because the Hawks game was so paramount in my head that they were going to play last night, but they are playing again tonight also at the same time when we're playing Miami tonight. So, Monique, thanks for bringing them up. Sometimes I forget to talk about the 905, and it's important to talk about them for sure. I didn't watch Murdoch Mysteries, but I'm going to try and find it today and see if I can catch that episode. I'm sure it's pretty funny. I want to know if he's playing James Naismith. And a friend of mine, I think he composed the music for that episode. I have a friend who's a musical composer here in downtown Toronto. He used to be the musical director at Second City, Toronto. Just an awesome dude, Matt Reed. He does all kinds of good soundtrack stuff. Monique saying next game versus Bulls, don't leave Vucevic open. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have Kem back. Wouldn't it be nice to have that old Orlando Magic center matchup on Thursday? Kem Birch versus Vucevic. Vucevic was always starting, and Kem had to be his backup for those years in Orlando. They know each other real well, and Kem has had good success against Vucevic in the past defensively. So hopefully we get him back, because Vucevic did hurt us the last time we played Chicago, and hopefully we can win this one against Chicago, because we haven't beat Chicago. Chicago's 2-0 against us this season, and we need to get a win against Chicago, and that could be Thursday night. But we can't get ahead. We got to win the game against Miami tonight first. All right, Andrew, last night's win was big. If we lost, we would have be tied with Atlanta. Yeah, these are things that they're probably thinking about and looking at in the standings, and thinking about, like, well, if we lose, we're back to 500. We're tied with Atlanta. This sucks, and we're less than Boston. Yeah, that's what would have happened if we lost last night, because Boston won, and if we had lost, we would have been below them today in the 7th spot. Or no, the 9th spot. We'd be in the 9th spot. They'd be in the 8th spot. And Atlanta be like in the 10th spot still. But yeah, these are all so super important because we're so jammed in together. And I'm sure the guys are very aware of this. And that may be part of what's driving them to want to win, is that they realize they don't want to keep back and forth with 500, just one and back, get wins stacked so they can get away from the 500, hopefully get into the next strata of the top 6 and be involved with Chicago, Miami, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee, that kind of that group up there. Monty Python saying, I was listening to a Heat podcast. They called us a bunch of pterodactyls with all the size and length. Pterodactyls. I love it. Hey, any dinosaur reference is fair with the Raptors, sure. And as long as it's complimentary, I think that's true. I think that we're pretty nasty. And I love that it's the flying dinosaur. That must mean that we have a lot of speed and we're all over the court. That's awesome. Raymond Jacob, good morning. Always good to see you. OG already redeemed himself the year after when he saved us with his legendary shot against the Celtics. Okay, talking about what I was saying about OG not being involved in our 2019 run. Yeah, in the bubble, he had that big shot against the Celtics and helped us win that crazy game in that one. I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't deserve the championship. I'm just saying that sometimes as a player, you may feel like you may not have deserved it because you weren't actually out on the court yourself, and that he may have some sort of fire inside him to get that opportunity to show that he would have been a big part of that if he had not had that appendicitis that happened to him that year. Mike Python, they said they want no part of Toronto in the first round. They want Toronto and Cleveland to take each other out. Well, listen, nobody wants a part of us in the first round. Nobody wants a part of us in the playoffs. And let's just keep building on that. Like, you get to whatever level. Hopefully we're in the first. We're in the top 6. So we don't play any of these playing games. And then we just get this matchup where we can just nasty mess them up. And if some of these like playoff teams we're doing really good against, like Atlanta or Washington, we already messed up real bad for the year. Milwaukee swept, that'd be good if we could get a matchup against a team that we won the season series against. And right now, the only teams that really have dominated us and beat us pretty bad are Chicago and Brooklyn. And, Boston has a winning record against us right now, but it's a little deceiving, honestly, because like we should actually, I don't know if we play them again for the rest of the year. I'd like to play Boston one more time with our newer feeling of how we're playing now, because they might get a different thing. They got it pretty bad in the second game of the season. They saw the very first preview of it, but I'd like to see it again against them, the updated version. Sue, good morning, everyone. Good win last night. Let's hope we can do it again tonight. The Heat played badly last night. I hope they don't have a huge bounce back shooting night tonight. Yeah, I don't know, Sue. I think that they're more likely to be more run down and tired and worn out. Like, they lost by 30 points last night. That's pretty demoralizing. Good win for Boston. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what kind of Miami Heat team we're going to see tonight, whether we're going to see Jimmy and PJ with them. It could be really like a lot different kind of team than we even saw on Saturday. and that hopefully we're going to show up and be just as crazy and badass as we've been for the last couple of days. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what happens with Miami. And once again, if I'm doing partly a preview for tonight, the Raptors need to come out tonight and jump all over Miami, be making their baskets right away and get the lead right away. We want to play with the lead like we did on Saturday, where we're ahead of them and they are trying to come back on us the whole game. So let's replicate that tonight. And maybe this time we can close them out a little bit better in the fourth quarter so that they don't get a chance to put it into overtime. That we just cruise to a nice, easy regulation time win against Miami by holding a lead for most of the game and then in clutch time, executing and holding them from scoring themselves. That's what I want to see tonight. Oh, yeah, Tom Duke's saying the Heat can't handle the North. No, we the North. We the North, and the North has snow. I can see it right now. I'm looking at it outside my window, and apparently the forecast says we're getting way more tonight. It's getting dumped on us tonight. So be ready for a snowstorm tonight, apparently. Monty Python saying Miami fans said they don't want any part of a 7-game series with Toronto in the first round. Yeah, said it's too draining. Oh, yeah. Nobody wants to play us. They said, okay, I think I read that. You wrote that twice. I guess you did write that twice. That's all right. Monique, Nick Nurse sounds so much happier in a post-game interviews. You can definitely tell when he's pissed. Love to see it. Yeah, Nick Nurse is a guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve, whether he's disappointed, whether he's upset, whether he's jubilant, whether he's giddy, whether he's, there's been different. We've seen the run of different levels of Nick Nurse this season. He's been giddy at times and just absolutely ecstatic. And then he's also like last year, you guys remember when Chris Finch, our assistant coach, took the job to go to Minnesota Timberwolves? The interview that Nick Nurse did after that, talking about that situation, was depressing. Like you could really tell that he was hurt, like emotionally, by his friend turning his back on him and going and taking that job. I mean, you can't get mad at him for wanting to get a promotion, but it did kind of fuck him up and he felt like he got stabbed in the back. And you could read that through in the interview from that. If you watch that old interview, him talking about Chris Finch departing, it's really tough. You can see Nick hurting inside. So he is somebody who wears his emotions on his sleeve. I love him for it. And I also love that he's not like Belichick or Popovich and very guarded and doesn't like to talk to the press. He's very open. He talks about it. He even talked about specific stuff last night that they've been working on. Like, I think it was something about how they attacked the guy who's coming on from the wing and guarding them on transition or something. So, yeah, Trish Stratus, you guys got a Trish Stratus reference. Good Toronto lady, Hall of Famer, wrestler. Yeah, Baby Spice was not bad, too. I don't know Baby Spice, who you're talking about. Okay, Raptors versus everybody. Sugar Ray, I'm with you, baby. Raptors versus everyone. This shirt today says grit over given. Nothing's given in this league. It's all with the grit and the determination, the energy, the hustle, the work that the Raptors are putting in, and it is showing dividends right now. And we're getting W's. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's see. The family saying Miami fans also say don't beat us in 5. Oh, man, if we play them in the playoffs, that'd be a really good matchup, honestly. With Kyle there, too, oh, my gosh, that would be epic kind of Star Wars battle right there, man. So good. Monique saying winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. See, this is the thing. Monique and I, we're OGs. We've been around this whole time, and we understand this, that this is the only thing that this team's about is winning. Masai Ujiri sets the president as the president from the very top, and it goes all the way down. It's like the popcorn makers are about winning in that arena when they're back, and the arena and the fans are able to be there and stuff like that. Everybody's about winning. So let's not get it twisted. The Raptors aren't about being a rebuild and trying to get lottery picks and be sucky like Philadelphia. No, we're about winning, and we're going to win no matter what. We're in development. We're going to try and win. That's the same thing at the 905 level. Patrick Mutombo is about winning. He doesn't care. He just wants the 905 to win. That's all he cares about. So let's see. All right, what else is going on here? I don't know what you're talking about, Monty. Maybe it was the political thing I was talking about there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you guys are on it. Yeah. Andrew's saying it's a good thing that conservative leaders in Canada are too uncharismatic to become the next Trump. Yeah, I think that's somewhat true. I mean, they kind of mishandle their candidates like Scheer and O'Toole. They've kind of they're not the most inspiring people. which is good, We don't need that kind of element up here. We don't need Trumpism here. We don't need these kind of people to push Trump up here. Be those kind of people here, because this country's way smarter, and that kind of stuff is stupid. There's people in the US that are dying just because of their devotion to Donald Trump, and they're stupid. They're stupid. It's basically Darwinism at work. We're seeing Darwinism at work. Okay, let's see. You guys are laughing at what I was saying. Amen, bro. Yards is saying downtown Ottawa has been locked up for a couple of days. It isn't safe down there if you're not white. Wow. See that? I don't like hearing that. That if it's not safe for people that aren't white to be in Ottawa right now, that is messed up, and that is un-Canadian. That is, you know what? That is the ugly Canadian. That is the expansionist colonial Canadian that came here and did awful things to the people who are already here. These are the assholes that are at Ottawa right now. These are the descendants of these assholes who came from Europe and came here and raped and pillaged this continent and did all these awful things and made all these residential school burials and stuff like that. These are the same motherfucking assholes that are sitting in trucks right now in Ottawa. These are the children of the people that did that stuff. And that's why these motherfuckers got to go, and they ain't got no voice. Man, I'm so pissed off about that stuff out there. I don't try to think about it too much, but Yards, if what you're saying is true, that makes me really mad, because that's our nation's capital. And there should never be not welcome to all people of all walks of life from everywhere in this world, because that's what Canada is about. It's not about these white bread motherfuckers, racist ass motherfuckers in their dumb trucks. It's not what this is about. This country is about love, unity, and diversity. And these motherfuckers that don't get it, they need to fucking go back to their wood cabins in Saskatchewan, wherever the fuck they came from, and just be in their own little world where they want to be like that. Yeah, because we ain't having it in our big cities in Canada, okay? So you go on home, you country bumpkins. All right. Yards, do you think Jimmy and Kyle are going to play tonight? There is definitely not going to be any Kyle, and there's possibly not going to be any Jimmy. So Jimmy didn't play last night, and neither did PJ Tucker. So we'll see if that carries over into tonight. We'll see. Sue saying, yes, Lex for PM. No, I keep saying this. Don't let me be PM. I don't want to ever be Prime Minister of Canada. I'd much rather maybe be an MP at some point, or just do local level, smaller politic kind of stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll get involved with that. But otherwise, no, I don't want to be like Justin Trudeau. That's such a hard job. And honestly, I'm not qualified. And I have way too many skeletons in my closet, like from my drinking days, that they'd be easy to pick me apart. Like publicly, yeah, I'd have so many scandals. There'd be some crazy stories from when I was in my 20s that come out, and they'd be like, yeah, this guy can't be prime minister. I think just the amount of LSD that I've done in my life alone precludes me from being allowed to be prime minister, because I'm legally insane, partly because of how much acid I've done. So, all right, maybe too much there. But anyway, the U.S. won't let them in unless vaxxed. Agree, we don't need to see Nazi and Confederate flags. This is not a symbol of freedom. Yeah, it has nothing to do with our country in some ways. Like, that's the U.S.'s racist bullshit, the Confederate flag and stuff like that. And, Nazi stuff is fucked up. There should never be Nazi stuff. And, part of it is coinciding with this whole past week is Holocaust remembrance stuff this week, that all these racists come out of the fucking woodworks and start showing their asses, partly because of stuff like that. And it's messed up. Like, they have their own anniversaries of bullshit, like terrorist people had for 9/11. They had their own anniversaries for starting bullshit because they feel so good about hateful things in the past. That's so fucked up. These people are awful, honestly. And as a whole, the whole of Canada needs to reject them and tell them to go the fuck home, and that we don't agree with them on the racist stuff. We may agree with them on some of the freedom stuff. We don't agree with them on the racist stuff. It's fucked up. So Monty Python saying, turn Dragic into Terrence Ross and Moses Brown. Wow, that's actually perfect. Because then you get a center, and you get a scorer off the bench, and somebody who's been in Toronto who's like actually kind of an interesting vet at this point. Terrence is fun, man. I saw Terrence in Kensington Market a couple of summers ago, and I yelled at him from the store that I used to work at. I did a show, Kensington Variety VIP Club, and I saw Terrence on the street outside my store. I said, Terrence Ross, two-time NBA dunk champion. And he turned, he looked at me, he laughed because I said two-time dunk champion. You guys know the story of that. He had to share the second one with John Wall and stupid shit. But yeah, it was funny seeing him there. He's just such a smiley, good dude. Like Terrence Ross is one of my old favorite Raptors, and his trade was a really big important one because we got Surge for him. But it would be weird to have a full circle, have Terrence Ross be this bench scorer that we're looking for, like 3-point shooter. Hopefully he's consistent. But who knows? Hey, what we get for Goran in the next couple of days, in the next week or so, is going to be a great surprise and very welcome. We've all been dying for this to happen all season. When it finally fucking happens, we're all going to be like, yeah, we got rid of the tragic motherfucker. Okay, let's see. Yards is saying Fred has been playing off ball lately. I think it could be a great formula with Gary going off lately. Yeah, Fred, listen, he's really picking his spots and being smart. And in some ways, he's conserving his energy for late in the game for if he does have to become steady Freddy big time in the big time at the end of the game and hit those big shots. And I think that was part of what helped us in the 3 overtime game was that Fred was cold for most of the game and wasn't working as much as Gary was carrying the water for most of the game. But then at the end of the game, when Gary wasn't able to hit his shot as effectively near the end in the overtimes, Fred stepped up and he finally started hitting his 3. And that's a great kind of thing, is like turn one faucet on and it's going. If it doesn't go, then turn the other faucet on. Hopefully it's going and stuff like that. So Andrew's saying Trey didn't feel like being guarded by the 6'9" Army. Yep, I feel like that may be a factor. Andrew, he didn't want that kind of treatment because he's soft, a little boy. Oh, man. Yeah, I wouldn't. Let's not give any locker room fodder for Trey. We don't want to piss him off. Well, we respect him. He's a good player. But, yeah, he is kind of like he's whack with the way he used to get his fouls and stuff like that and, like, whine to the refs and stuff like that. So, let's see. That's mental. I'm not sure what Yards is saying. Maybe talking about the political bullshit. Let's see. Monty's saying looks like he's our 15 next to our guys. Oh, Trey looks like he's 15 compared to our guys. Yeah, he's a little guy. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can make fun of him. Monique's saying, I said once, and I'll say it again, Earl Watson is such a gift for Pascal, and you see it more and more. Oh, man, I agree with you so much. I love seeing Earl talking to Nick, and, like, they have these little mischievous smiles under the mask. Like, they pull them down, and they're, like, talking during the game. You can tell that whatever they're saying is probably really funny. Like, Earl's an interesting dude, like, because of his NBA career and just his smarts and his Rico Hines, like, connection. So he's really got a pulse on the NBA and like the players and like the whole community and stuff. So he has been a huge plus to this team. Like you can see it in Pascal and the way he's operating. You can see it in other guys too. Like he works with all of them. Like the stuff he's doing with Gary is probably really good too. Like we're seeing part of what Gary's doing is probably part of Earl Watson coming up to him and saying, because Earl to me is kind of like an offensive coach in some ways. He's kind of teaching them like, well, why don't you guys try this? Like, what if you made this move? Or what if you did this instead? And he kind of challenges them in that way and gives them ideas to maybe try something different that may work better. And I love that. I think that you're exactly right, Monique, that Earl Watson on the down low has been a huge, great addition for us this year. I think a couple of those coaches that we added this year, whether it's Trevor Gleason, also having Nate Bjorngren back this year has been huge. Our coaching staff is really solid this year, super solid. And, I'm so happy with it. Yards is saying, wow, the Heat got blown out last night. Yeah, they did. Real bad, 30 points. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to try and get to the next place. My Python saying Romaro Gill stunk. I watched him. Yeah, he was way too big and slow. Too slow. Callie, even though the last few minutes were stressful, I felt confident we would win. All right, Callie's stress meter for last night wasn't too bad. She was confident in the team. There was some stress at the end, but she really felt like they were steering towards a win. And I agree with you, Callie. It did seem like the signs were all there. The margin was good and comfortable enough that it didn't get too close. They did get the lead for just a second there in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't for too long. And then we kept a 4 cushion margin, and it was really dumb when Pascal missed both those free throws, because it's like, dude, you could really ice the game for sure right now, but it was inconsequential. Like Alvin said, it was like if he's gonna miss 2 free throws at the end of the game, at least it was in that situation and that it wasn't really important or mattered, but it didn't look good. Like honestly, if he just hit those free throws, that game would have been over for sure at that moment in time. But it is what it is, and thank goodness we had enough no matter what, to make sure that it happens. So Andrew's saying, "Oh, that's cool. I'm a music composer too." Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. He's amazing. He does a lot of music for documentaries, TV shows, and movies. Like he does a lot of like instrumental. Like he's a real composer. Like he's writing out the music on the treble clef and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm very proud of my good friend Matt Reed. He's a good dude, really funny guy. And him and I have had so many good times at karaoke night at Watson's downtown Toronto back in the day. On Sunday nights, we'd go up there and we'd sing old like hair metal songs and stuff. Like he'd be singing Journey and I'd be singing like Motley Crue, stuff like that. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm funny on karaoke, y'all. I sing a lot of karaoke. I can sing pretty good, actually. It's pretty crazy. All right, let's see. Monty Python saying Perry is better than Gil. Yeah, Perry is way better than Gil. Perry can hit threes. Perry's more like the guys we have on the main roster. He's like more multi-dimensional. The other thing that I found out about Reggie Perry recently is they did an interview with him, Savannah Hamilton, and he grew up a little bit in West Palm Beach and knew Scotty from when they were younger. So he's been around Scotty Barnes quite a bit, like already. And the other thing I found out that's really interesting about Reggie is that he thought about going to Florida State himself, that it was one of the schools that he was on his short list that he might have gone to for his university, but he didn't end up going there. And it was partly because his family lives in Thomasville, which is really close to Tallahassee, where Florida State is. And he wanted to move away from his family and not be so close to him for university. But he was going to be at Florida State with Scotty Barnes himself. Like he could have been playing with Scotty there. Actually, he would have been the year before. So he would have been there with Vassell instead, Devin Vassell. So for San Antonio. Perry and Bonga, I think you will see next with the Raptors. I agree with that. Bonga especially. Perry may not get his shot. He may be this kind of guy that kind of just is on the team this year, but then maybe he gets picked up by somebody else next year. But Bonga is a part of our future. Bonga is definitely somebody we're working on, and he's going to be a part of things with Delano and people like that in the future for sure. I'd like to keep Perry around. He's a good dude. He has a really good character, and he's got a lot of good tools. So Paul B, I'm ready for a 30-point Scotty game. Yeah, me too. He got close recently. We'll see. I mean, it's Gary's time right now. Obviously, we wanted him to run this streak. Like, I'll be pissed off if they're not trying to feed the ball to Gary Trent tonight, because I want to see him tie DeMar's record for most 30-point games in a row. He has to tie him tonight. And then who knows? Maybe he can play against DeMar on Thursday and beat his record. If he gets 30 points tonight and then he gets 30 points on Thursday, he's actually taking a Raptor record away from DeMar in the game against him. That would be phenomenal, insane, really good drama. But we need to see him get the first one tonight to tie him tonight. And that's just a little understory there. Think about that he's going for a record that DeMar currently holds. And we're seeing DeMar on Thursday. oh, drama. Let's see. Monty Python's saying, yeah, like we lost to Boston, Brooklyn, and company when we weren't even healthy. Yeah, a lot of the games were just at a bad time during the season. And sometimes the NBA will schedule that. They want us not to have been figured out. That's why we saw a lot of Boston and New York at the beginning of the season, because they wanted them to get their games out of the way against us. Well, we kicked New York's ass anyway. And Boston we had trouble with. We beat them the one time, and then we've lost 2 times to them since, I think. I think we've only lost 2 times. Maybe we played them 4 times and we've lost 3 and only won 1. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look at it. We may not play Boston again for the rest of the year. So it's just what it is. I hope we play them one more time. I'll look at the schedule later and see. Paul, that would be heaven, a 30-piece McNugget combo. What? What are you guys talking? Oh, a 30-piece, like his point scoring. Yeah, you bring up the McNuggets, man. It's like tying in the McDonald's. And then I start thinking about Trae Young and his McDonald's outfit he had that one game. You guys know what I'm talking about. When Trae Young came to Atlanta, he came to Toronto, and we have McDonald's arches at the end of our court. Like they're a sponsor. So our court has a little bit of McDonald's kind of advertising on there. And then Trae Young shows up to a game last year, and he looks like the court, because he wore like an outfit that looked like he was McDonald's. Like he looked like he worked in McDonald's, or he was Ronald McDonald or something. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. You guys talking about McDonald's. Let's see. Sorry, I wrote twice. I smoked the 2 joint already listening to me. Hey, I don't mind you, man. I will be smoking after this. I don't do it before because I want to be clear-headed and go right into this and not be spacey and stuff like that. I try to be as on as possible. Yeah. What's happening in Ottawa right now is not Canadian. It's manufactured racist bullshit is Trump world. This is Trump world. And we don't want Canada to have any kind of Trump world here. We don't have nothing to do with that idiot. The more irrelevant this guy becomes in North America as a continent overall, the better. Like, he just needs to go away. And if these next guys down the states are going to be like Trump coming up, like DeSantis and stuff like that, they need to, be poo-pooed away also. I know that they have a rabid fan base of idiots right now, but the further we can get away from this, because Trump is a lot similar to Hitler in a lot of ways. People don't want to say that, but there are a lot of very similar things that happened 100 years ago that are happening now in this century that mirror what happened 100 years ago with Adolf Hitler in Germany and Donald Trump in the United States. It's just very similar stuff. And if we're smart as humankind, that we'll learn from our mistakes and realize when this kind of shit is happening. So we need to stop it and cut it off at the start, because it's bad. It's bad. You want to get into World War or something else because of this shit? We got to stop this kind of stuff at the start. So that's what I'm saying. All right, I keep getting back into that, but that's okay. All right, it's not Canadian at all. I totally agree. That's absolute Canadian. That's right. That's right. Canadians were intricately involved in the freedom of slavery. That's right. The Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman, bringing people from the States up here into Canada, the freedmen. And yeah, it's a really big part. Yeah. That LCD is partly why you're so smart, bro. Oh, the LSD. Yeah, the psychedelics. Well, it definitely helped me with realizing my alcoholism and helping me to, that is something that they've said in the past, that they've treated alcoholism with hallucinogenics, because they help people get into a different state of their mind. They can get out of their head and actually see inwardly and see something about themselves that they weren't able to see. That's part of the thing about it all. Psychedelics literally build your brain, literally create new neurological pathways, like DMT kind of stuff you're talking about. Yeah, I don't want to totally advocate guys go out and do psychedelics and acid and stuff like that, but I don't disagree with what Monty's saying here in some ways, that they can be very enlightening and can open things up. But like with anything, is within like moderation. Don't be crazy people. Like, I dropped 7 hits of acid and went to Bonnaroo or something like that. That's stupid. Do it with moderation. You don't need to like fry your brain, because you can fry your brain on stuff like that too. So Monique's saying Patrick Mutombo's motto is just win, and Nick Nurse's motto is expect to win. I have a wristband. Yeah. I mean, just win. That's what I say. Just win. Just like Mutombo. When Stevie Roots messages me every day, game day, he's going to do it today. Sometime this afternoon, I'm going to get a text from Stevie Roots that says just win. Game day, just win. And I'll say back to him, just win. And that's what we mean. Like Miami on Saturday, just win. It doesn't matter how long the game is, how gutsy and how crazy it is. Just find that way to get the W at the end. That's all that we care about. It could be ugly. All our guys could have 5 turnovers each, almost about to foul out, nobody making a shot. But if we get the W, I don't give a shit. It could be the ugliest game in the world. We get the win. That's all that matters. So, and that's why I don't care about stats. That's why these Raptor fans that go over the stats every night after the game and say, well, this player could have been better. Well, did we win the game? Okay, then none of that matters, okay? It doesn't matter how they did individually, because they all added up to one important stat, and that's the win. So I'm with you, Monique. I'm totally with you on the winning mentality of our franchise and how we are. We know. Her and I know. We know. Andrew's saying, yeah, I write music for video games. Cool. Do you do like 8-bit stuff? I love 8-bit music. I got really into Nintendo Core for a little while. Like, just composers that like to use that 8-bit sound, like, and just make cool stuff. Or they make like existing music into 8-bit and stuff like that. I'm into that. I'm very intrigued by this, Andrew. This is cool stuff. Maybe we need to compose a theme song for the cult of Raptor Freaks. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Monty's saying Reggie Perry's 22, 6'9", 250 pounds. To me, Reggie Perry looks like young Oakley. He has some of the same facial expressions that Oakley used to make when he was a young player, when he was in Chicago, and he was just starting out with Michael. When Michael first started out as a rookie, his protector was Charles Oakley on the Bulls. And he was the guy who was putting people on the floor. And there's a lot of the same kind of things with his face and the way he acts on the court that makes me think of young Oakley on those Bulls teams from way back then. So, yeah, Reggie Perry is awesome. If he can get a spot on our team somehow, some way. Like, everybody's saying get DJ Wilson and bring him in at the end of the year when we expand our rosters. But in some ways, I'd rather bring Reggie up and have him be the guy that we bring in extra on our roster eventually. So we'll see. A lot of what's happening right now with the Raptors is the luxury tax and staying within it so that we actually get money back instead of paying into it. And that was why we cut Sam Decker at the beginning of the year, is because we had to be under this certain threshold, because if we stay under it, we actually get money in return from the league. But if we go over it, then we have to pay. So we want to be one of these teams that actually gets money back instead of paying, especially right now if we can make it work. Because in some ways they're saying it could mean like 10 million extra dollars for the team, like that much money. And as much as we love the team, and it is a business, and they're thinking about X's and O's and on the court, but they're also thinking about red and black ink and different things that have happened the last season with not having the team here or not having fans in the arena and revenue and stuff like that. So if they can get a tax break because they stayed under this luxury tax threshold, it's financially really good for the Raptors. That's part of what's going on there. Paul B saying, where can I get some of those Fred VanVleet green shoes? Yeah, those green shoes were standing out last night. I think Fred really likes them because he wore them the whole game through. There's been some speculation about Fred VanVleet's shoes because, like, one game he changed his shoes 3 times. Like, he had a bad game I don't know, I think it was a couple months ago, and he changed his shoes like 3 different times during the game until he found the pair of shoes that he liked and he felt good in, he started playing better in. But he likes those green shoes because he wore those whole green shoes through the whole entire game last night. He didn't change his shoes at halftime or anything. So, yeah, I like Fred's green shoes too, as long as we're not playing the Celtics. Monty Python, agreed. It's a medicine, should be treated as such. Psychedelics. I have aspirin, but I don't take it 15 for a headache. Be your last headache. Yeah, with everything, moderation. Everything with moderation. Raymond Jacob, what kind of music did you like listening to, Alexa? I can picture you raving in the good old 90s. I was not a raver. I had my hair down in my shoulders, and I was a big fan of Nirvana and grunge music. Yeah, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Slayer, Anthrax, Iron Maiden, Soundgarden. These were my bands when I was in high school. I'm a huge U2 fan also, guys. I know some people will be like, they're going to have a lesser opinion of me because of this, but they're absolutely my favorite band of all time. I've seen U2 like 8 times. And they're honestly, their music to me is kind of like my religion. Like, I really, really like, if they had the church of U2, I'd probably be going to that church here in Toronto. But yeah, I'm a big fan of metal, classic rock. I love old hip hop. And I love like electronic music. I'm a big fan of Chemical Brothers, Daft Punk, stuff like that. And I do a lot with new music right now. Like, I'd invite you to look on my page on the YouTube. In the bottom, there's created playlists. Every Friday, I watch a bunch of brand new music videos that have just come out over the last week. And I pick 15 videos that I think are the absolute best of the week. So if you're ever interested in seeing good new music that's actually just come out recently, that list is always good to go check. And it's on my YouTube channel page. At the bottom, it'll say Lex's Choice for this week. And just check it out. You'll see new hip hop, new rock, new every kind of genres on there usually. And the reason why I do this is because I really love music. And I was a radio DJ in Florida for like 10 years down there. So I really, really know a lot about music in general. And I like to stay on top of current music. And this is the way I do it. So if you guys are like, oh, music sucks these days, go check out some of my playlists, and you may find some new bands and new artists that you like that you didn't even realize were out there. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel. I go through YouTube and look at every single new video that came out for the week, and I watch most of them, and I decide whether it's good enough to be on my list or not. So if you guys are interested in new music, that's the place to look. But I was an old grunge head. If I was in high school, I had long hair. I was smoking weed in the senior parking lot next to my green Monte Carlo and listening to Slayer. Yeah, that's what I was. All right, let's see. Andrew, I don't do much 8-bit, but I mostly do orchestral music. Wow. Okay. Do you do it on like Pro Tools on the computer, or do you actually have an orchestra? I'm pretty sure you probably do it through the computer, but I love that facet about music production now, that it's open to anyone. It's really, if you have the right programs and the expertise, you can make it in your own home without anybody else being involved. And that's part of the great thing about this YouTube channel, is I can do this now without anybody involved. Technology is catching up, and it's in great ways for people that are creative to do things and do it on their own without having anybody involved. It's great. It's such a great era for that. We need to cherish this, because the more corporate interests and people try and take over things that are great, like YouTube or any kind of like, way music has become and stuff like that, it always makes things worse. So we need to hold them off and keep things the way they are. Let's see. Raymond Jacob is talking about Molly. I never got into that. That's something I never did. Ecstasy. I wasn't into that kind of drug. I was really purely, it was LSD. I even did mushrooms a little bit, and I had a really bad mushroom experience that probably would preclude me from being the Prime Minister of Canada just for that incident itself. I might tell you guys about that someday, but not for today. Chris I wonder if Jimmy and PJ are playing today. Yeah, I'm wondering this too. Well, I'm going to monitor this all day. And as soon as I know definitively whether Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker are playing tonight, I will put it on this video I've usually pin it to the top as a comment, and I'll say, this is their status for tonight. If anything changes during the night, like I did that yesterday with Trey when we found out he wasn't going to be playing. Paul's saying, I went to Bonnaroo and saw Beastie Boys' final show at the Barricade. No acid though. Listen, man, that's good though, because you should have gone there and seen them sober, because honestly, that memory you won't want to get taken away ever, because honestly, man, they're gone now. And I know how much that band means to you, Paul. So the fact that you got to see them live, I'm jealous. I never got to see the Beastie Boys ever in concert, and I would have loved to have seen them. That's great. Yeah. Okay. Monty Python, try and stay organic, Raymond. You're looking for the therapeutic. We're all over the place today. I thought we were like, all right, we're going to talk about Atlanta. We're going to talk about Miami, but we're talking about truck convoy. We're talking about LSD. We're all over the place today. I'm all right with it. It's fine. Let's keep going. Raymond Jacobs saying Andrew's favorite music composer is Nobuo Uematsu, Final Fantasy legend. Yes, that guy is really good. Okay, here's another part of my history is I was a Final Fantasy 11 nut, and I was on that in that massive multiplayer online world. I spent a few years in there. My ex-wife and I used to play that game together and run around Vanadil with the Tarus and the Gulkas. And yeah, I know about that world, that Final Fantasy world. And some of the music in those games is just phenomenal. Like, honestly, those games are just so good, Final Fantasy. Let's keep going. Paul B saying, Huratron is a great producer, artist that uses Game Boy and 8-bit sounds. Check him out, from Finland, Dark and Heavy. Okay, yeah. Slayer, Nirvana. I was really big fan of Incesticide, and of course, Nevermind. Nevermind was like the album. Like when Smells Like Teen Spirit was on the radio, it was such an anthem to really my high school experience. It really is kind of like what it was. Like, dun, 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 dun. I mean, it really is the perfect anthem for my whole high school years, is Smells Like Teen Spirit. So, but Penny Royalty, there's a lot of good songs by them. I like Polly. I like, Something in a Way. That's a really good song. Something in the Way. I like a lot of Nirvana. I don't think you can go wrong with Nirvana. I'm not as big a fan as Heart Shaped Box and that album, the later one, In Utero, but the other stuff, all the earlier stuff, really good. Bleach, Incesticide, stuff like that. And I'm more a Nirvana guy than a Pearl Jam guy. I never really liked Pearl Jam. It was kind of like our Beatles and Stones in the early 90s. It was Pearl Jam, Nirvana. And I was a Nirvana guy, full fruit. And I saw Nirvana play. I saw Kurt and them play in Tallahassee in like 94. And that was a real highlight. Great concert that I'm glad I got to go see Nirvana in concert way back. Dive's another good one too. Yeah, you guys that's good. Those are good songs there, Monty. Let's see. Raymond Jacobs is saying, just a good old herb for me now, but in the early 2000s, really into EDM and went to a lot of raves. I don't do those kind of drugs anymore, though. Yeah, you don't. You get older and you mature. The weed is really just medicinal, and it's good for your pains, your aches and pains, and feeling good. I actually think that I have better eyesight at this age, being 46, than most people my peers, just because of how much weed I've smoked. That it's like helped the oxygen in the eyes and allowed my eyes to be more stronger as time gets on. So there are health benefits to marijuana that they generally don't want people to know, because of like the whole William Randolph Hearst war on drugs and all this kind of stuff. And they'd never done really any research on it and how all the good benefits and stuff like that are for it and stuff. So, it's natural. It's on this planet naturally. So, okay, keep going. Paul B, check out Matt Nathanson's Actung Baby cover album, Actung Matty, a worthy cover album, as it's Nathanson's personal favorite album. Yeah, I like hearing some of this stuff that people do, like when they do covers of U2 and stuff like that. There's a really good Depeche Mode cover of So Cruel, some other stuff like that. I'll definitely look this. I might have seen this actually. I think I vaguely remember Actung Matty and listening to it, because I'm really excited. I go deep and I've listened to all their B-sides, a lot of live concerts they've done, like all kinds of stuff. Monty Python saying that you like drum and bass, Raymond. I'll stay out of that one. That's not really my area expertise. I really didn't get into the rave thing. Let's see. Okay, I'll let you guys have your jungle talk there. Okay, Andrew saying, Beastie Boys were one of my favorite bands growing up. I used to listen to my sister's cassette tape of Ill Communication over and over. Yeah, they were a big part of like my high school years too. Like I can remember So What You Want blaring out of my car, like all Spring Breaks and stuff like that, and Boomin' Granny. Yeah, Boomin' Granny, good and plenty. Cause I saw you at the checkout line. Huh? You dropped your coupons and you were looking fine. Sophisticated. It's so mature. It doesn't even matter if you're 60 or 74. Cause I want you and I need you. And I can be your pet. Bet. Listen, old lady, I'm gonna make you sweat. I love Boomin' Granny. That's such a good song. Oh my gosh. Shabba D was my man, though. He and Skiba are still ripping it to this day. Man, you guys are talking about a genre I do not know about there. Okay. All right, Monty Python, you said all three of my favorite Nirvana songs. Penny Royalty, Polly, Something in the Way. Yeah, okay. All right, let's just finish this up real quick. We're just over 2 hours. And we're not really talking Raptors at this point. Let's see. Monique saying, Open Gym just released a Jim Sand episode. Very good, but touching. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Monique, I'm so glad you brought up this Open Gym episode with Jim Sand. This is an episode that needed to be made for years. Jim Sand is an amazing person that I had no idea about. Like the things that I learned about Jim Sand from this Open Gym episode make me realize why the Raptors are so great. That he is an unsung person that is really important to this team. He's the guy that Pascal can call at 3 a.m. and he will come to the gym at the OVO Center and he will rebound for him at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is a guy who's had heartache and awful things happen to him in his life, and he's persevered and he appreciates and has such a gratitude. And like the fact that he's on our team and that he's decided to work with us says a lot, because he could go work for a lot of different NBA teams right now and get a job real quick. And we are lucky and blessed to have Jim Sand as one of our assistant coaches. So go out and watch that Open Gym that Monique has just brought up, because it's a really, really good one. And like Pascal says in the episode, this was an episode that needed to be made a long time ago, because you see how young Pascal is when he said it. Jason Smith, good morning. I do this every morning around 9 a.m. Usually I do a live stream talking about Raptors news, notes, previews, reactions to the game from last night. We're doing a reaction to the Hawks game last night and a preview for the Miami game tonight. Let's see what Jason's saying. You're a funny guy. Weed makes the eyesight better. Perfect. Yeah, I think so. Seriously, because what weed does is it dilates your blood vessels. It allows them to open up and it allows more blood flow through your body. And that allows blood in your eyes to fight glaucoma, to fight bad things that can happen to your eyesight. So that's why I say that. Yeah, I really believe that. Paul B, I played one gig with my old band, and Come As You Are and Smells Like Teen Spirit were in the set list. Good times. Good times, man. Yeah, rock it, bro. Raymond saying, haha, Lexi sure does look like an old school junglist. No, man, I had nothing to do with no jungle or house or drum and bass. None of that. When I was I was a metalhead in high school. And then when I got to Toronto after university, I was a goth. I came to Toronto and I started working at the Velvet Underground at Queen Street in Portland as a bar back and a manager there. And all I listened to was The Cure, Nine Inch Nails, Morrissey, Bauhaus. You know, that I was a goth, but I didn't dress it. But I hung out and lived in that world of goth because of where I was working. I was working at the Air Canada Center in the afternoon, making subs for games at the Raptor games. And then I get done at 10:30 p.m. and I'd walk through downtown to Portland and Queen and work at the Velvet Underground after that and bar back till 4 a.m. in the goth bar. So I'm metal, goth, and rock oriented. I'm more guitar oriented. I don't like a lot of electronic music unless it's like Chemical Brothers, Daft Punk, that kind of stuff, Stardust, Kraftwerk, stuff like that. But like the drum and bass, the really repetitive stuff, I've been to those like rave parties and stuff like that, and they never really, I didn't like them. Like the people with the glow sticks, and you know, they're out and 4 a.m. drinking tons of water because they're like crazy out of their mind on some crazy drug. No, that was never my scene. It was more rock guitar guy. Let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying cannabis is great for cataracts. I agree. Yeah, Paul B, you like that? You like my rendition of Boom and Granny? That's at least the most amount of the lyrics that I could remember right there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm 26 and you're 80. Yeah. So good. So good. Raymond Jacob, what kind of music do you listen to now? You know, one of my favorite bands right now is Low. I really like Low. Low has this really gritty, bad sound. Like it sounds like your washing machine hitting something over and over again, boom, 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 boom. But it's like got melodic voices in it, so it's really akin to our times now. Like it's very grutty and like Nine Inch Nail industrial kind of sound. Like doesn't sound pleasant, but it also has like sounds of hope in the voices that are singing, that make you feel like, oh man. The video last year, White Horses, I highly recommend that video. Low, White Horses. It's just like, to me, it was a video that just encapsulated the whole feeling of 2021 with the pandemic and just all the awful like things happening and stuff. Low, White Horses. I like some of the new metal that's coming out still is really good. Like Immolation is a really good band. Let me see who else is. Alien Weaponry, they're really good. And then like if you're talking about hip hop, I've been talking about with Paul recently. I'm really into Murs right now, and this guy named Blue's really good. There's a guy named Samad Savage who's absolutely talented and amazing. You know, I don't like the dumb hip hop that's just track beat, and then like they're just got booty hose and they're flashing money and talking about guns and stuff like that. It's all cookie cutter. It's all the same. But I like intelligent hip hop where they sing about political issues. They sing about trying to change things for the best. That's the kind of guys. Like Earth Gang. Earth Gang's another great artist that's out right now that's really good. Earth Gang. So, but like I said, if you want to get a little taster of what I'm listening to week, just check out my Lexus Choice music video choices for the week. 15 videos. It's usually about an hour. It comes out every Friday night around 9 p.m. Look for it. And the one for this week's actually pretty good. It's got a lot of indie stuff on it. I believe there's a new Toro and Moi on it. And who else is on it? Usually there's some big names on there. There'll be a couple of big names. Like Neil Young has a lot of new music that's been coming out recently that's not bad. I mean, it's great that he's still making music. And this whole Spotify thing's hilarious. But let's see. Sue, I'm a bit older than you, Lex, so I still love Nirvana, but I was into Smiths, Cure, Bauhaus, Nitzareb. But also fan of ska music, Specials. Oh yeah. Madness, Oingo Boingo, stuff like that. Yeah. Sue, I totally respect your taste. I was a post-punk guy. Like I love the Smiths. I love the Cure. I love Nine Inch Nails, all that kind of stuff, that industrial area, Ministry, you know, with Psalm 69 and all this, that stuff was really crucial and important part of what I like too. Yeah, Sue. All right. Awesome. Your taste is really good. Paul, I miss the 90s bad. I'm so confused why my 25-year-old coworker keeps playing these awful music choices, One Republic and Neon Trees. Yeah, that sounds really bad. No, I don't. As soon as I see the One Republic video, I usually just skip right over it. I have nothing to do with it. All right. You know what, guys? you're kind of petering out here. Let's go Raptors. We got to beat Miami tonight for this. Get ahead in the series, so we're up 2-1. Because this is going to be real crucial going to the end of the season. We got to continue to beat the Eastern Conference teams so that if there's any tiebreakers near the end of the season for playoff reasons, we need to have the wins over them. And I feel real good about tonight. We'll find out later in the afternoon if Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker are going to be available here tonight or not. We'll see. Blink 182, Raymond? I like that song, Miss You. That's that one song that I really, really like by that band. Is that song. This is real low key. It's not like their normal songs. That's the one I like by them. Yeah, Paul's saying Low from Duluth. Yeah, Low. That's the same band. They've been around forever, but they had a really good year last year. They had an amazing album that came out that just really epitomized the whole feeling of 2021 and just the gritty ugliness of it, along with these angelic voices of hope, trying to sing something into positivity. It's just amazing. You honestly check out all the Low videos from last year. They're really good. There's a couple. You know what? Listen, seriously, just go and check out my best of 15 each week, because you'll always find at least one good metal song, one good hip hop. Usually there's a good pop song in there. There's some good alternative rock, all kinds of stuff in there. Yeah, Manachar. Yeah, I played them before. I used to play them on the radio all the time because I worked at an independent radio station that was, playing alternative independent artists more than like the mainstream stuff. We weren't playing Led Zeppelin so much. We did play some Led Zeppelin, but we would be playing more stuff like, Modest Mouse before they hit it big. We were known for playing Nirvana in Tallahassee before anybody else, before they hit it big. We had Nirvana's album in the late 80s. Before they hit it big. So, all right, Monique's always getting us back on track. Go Raptors. These are great times. We'll build off these 2 wins in a row. Hopefully we get the 3rd one tonight against Miami. Hopefully they're shorthanded. All right, guys. Great win against the Hawks last night. It's been a lot of fun, very enjoyable. I appreciate everybody being here and joining me this morning. We got a little off track, but hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind talking about these extracurricular stuffs, especially music. I really love talking about music. So anytime you guys want to talk about any kind of little music things here and there, I'm okay with it. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Thanks again for everyone being here. And look for me tomorrow for the reaction tomorrow on the off day. And I mean, this is a grind. We got 4 games and 4 nights this week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And, they're not going to get any less tired. Tomorrow they're going to be doing anything but laying in bed again, like Pascal said. He laid in bed all day yesterday in Atlanta and then just went to the game and played. They're not going to make these guys do any practicing tomorrow. If they're going to play again tonight, another 40 minutes, then they're not going to have to play anymore. All right, guys. All right, peace out, Monty, Jason Smith. Thanks for being here. All the best, guys. Let's go. Woo!